Well, hi. How you doing? Steve Dangle here, and welcome to Watch a Leafs Game with Steve Dangle. Isn't this fun? Isn't this great? Well, it's going to be. Tonight, the Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Chicago Blackhawks, and let's just get something out of the way right away. If you're watching this from the Greater Toronto area, you feel like the big bad wolf is outside of your house, and your house is made of sticks, which I don't know if you remember this. Sticks is before the last one. Feels like everyone's house is going to blow down. So in the event my power goes out, which is there's a greater than 0% chance of that happening, what'll happen is we'll just throw up the game feed. For some of you, that will improve the program. And to that I say, hurtful, but fair. Anyway, tonight, Leafs taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Perhaps not quite the goalie duel that you expected on a edition of Hockey Night in Canada. Or, sorry, delete, watch a Leafs game with Steve Dangle. It's going to be Peter Mrazek playing his first NHL game in 42 days, taking on Kevin Lankinen. Marc-Andre Fleury getting the night off after getting a shutout in his 500th win. And a little bit of spice in there. Because the Leafs recently traded tough guy with a heart of gold, Curtis Gabriel, to the Chicago Blackhawks for former second-round pick from 2016, Chad Chris. He's a defenseman, played with Matthews in the American program, played at university with Joey Anderson, Joseph Woll, Matt Hellickson, who's on the Marlies, JD Greenway, who is a former Leafs draft pick, and I think there's another one that I'm forgetting. A ton of players. But Curtis Gabriel not confirmed to be in the Blackhawks lineup tonight for his first NHL game of the season, but he is taking warm-up. So if he's in the lineup, cool, that'll be cool. He'll get to play against his former team that he never actually got to play for. Or it's just a really nice gesture from the Chicago Blackhawks, and no small thing, he gets to collect an NHL paycheck. A few things before we get to questions. It's producer Rob. We got to come up with a better nickname for you, producer Rob. Who's on the questions tonight instead of producer Drew. Some people have been talking about Josh Hosang coming up to the Leafs. A little bit of cap room freed up. Mitch Marner placed on LTIR. That does free up some room. Josh Hosang is in the starting lineup for the Toronto Marlies tonight. He cannot be recalled because he's not on an NHL deal. The Leafs have to sign him. And if I'm not mistaken, he has to clear waivers too. The starting lineup tonight, or not the starting lineup, the projected lineup tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Michael Bunting and Austin Matthews together. That's not weird. Andre Kasha on the right wing there. That is weird. But it's not weird if you look at his production. He's one of the hottest Leafs right now in a roster full of hot Leafs. Kerfoot, Tavares, Nylander, nothing changes there. Nick Ritchie, David Kampf, and Wayne Simmons. Ritchie finally getting his first goal as a Leaf last game. And Kyle Clifford, Pierre Engvall, and Alex Steeves. I'd like to see Alex Steeves have a few moments in this game. I thought he created a bit of a racket in the first period of his first game, and then nothing really since. We got Reilly Brody. That's normal. Muzzin Liljegren. That's a little different. And Rubens Hall. To have Sandin out of the lineup, to have Dermott out of the lineup, and have Hall still get demoted to the third pair, that shows you how much he struggled this season. The Blackhawks lineup, according to Ben Pope: Alex DeBrincat with Kirby Dach, the son of Hickory and Dickory, with Patrick Kane, Hagel, Taves, Ryan Johnson, Kubalik, Strome, and Kurashev, Carpenter. How is that the name I screwed up? Carpenter, Slavin, Hardman, Gabriel obviously is the extra, DeHaan, Seth Jones, McCabe, Murphy, Stillman, Gustafson, and like I said, Kevin Lankinen in net. Let's get to some of your questions before puck drop, and even if it bleeds into the game, I do not care. Thank you, Producer Stu. Producer Stu in my ear. I forgot to do a little bit of business. So you're watching Watch a Leafs Game with Steve Dangle here on the Sportsnet YouTube channel. But how about on Sportsnet Now? Would you like Sportsnet Now? I bet you would. All the commercials, you've seen them. and you love them. I know you do. I've read all the comments, and they're all, this is great. Verbatim. snnow.ca. Use the promo code DANGLE20, and you got to scream it. DANGLE20, all capitals, on snnow.ca. That'll get you 20% off of the first 3 months of Sportsnet Now. You can watch hockey. You can watch, the other sports, whatever they are. What are some of the other sports? StarCraft. Do we have StarCraft? We don't. Red Dead Redemption. We don't. What about Rocket League? We should, though. We should. Basketball is another one of the sports that we have. So check out Sportsnet Now on snnow.ca. Promo code DANGLE20. Questions from producer Rob. Daniel asks, how will the confidence of this team be different with Mrazek in net? I would like to think that they'd be okay. And I say that because, Mrazek's played 2 games as a Leaf, and the Leafs were catastrophic in front of him in both games, I thought. But they also played pretty well in front of Joseph Woll, and also pretty bad. It's a mixed bag. They're going to have to be much, much better than they were last game defensively. I thought they took Jack Campbell for granted, big time. Roger, will Curtis Gabriel get a point tonight? Listen, I was going to say he was going to score a goal until I saw that he doesn't have a goal since the 18-19 season. So I'm going to say he'll get 2 goals. Michael, what changes would you make from last game's performance against Tampa? Oh, my God. Well, Sheldon Keefe got started by banishing Hall to the third pair. Listen, I don't know what's going on there. And if you watch my LFR video on my own YouTube channel, where I was talking about that game, I usually break the game down, tell the story of the game. Here's what happened in the first period. Here's what happened in the second period, the third. To me, it was pointless because last game was game 28 out of 82. So the Leafs are 34% of the way through the season, about a third of the way through. And after that game, I can tell you 2 things for sure about the Toronto Maple Leafs. One, they're a very good team. Might even be better than last year's team. Number 2, they're not good enough. There was a tweet from James Myrtle that broke my heart. All 3 of the Leafs, Panthers, and Lightning are on pace for over 111 points. They're all in the same division. The Leafs are currently third in that division. I'm looking at it right now. It's so unfair. The Panthers have 40 points. The Leafs and Lightning are tied with 38 apiece, except, and the Leafs actually have an advantage in regulation wins over the Lightning, but the Lightning have played fewer games. Leafs are third in their own division. They are 6th in the NHL. And the reason this is relevant is that the playoffs started today. Guess who the Leafs, the 6th place team in the NHL, will be playing in the first round? The back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Who they just lost to without Reilly in the lineup, without Point in the lineup, and without Kucherov in the lineup. The Tampa Bay Lightning are gosh darn near undefeated with Braden Point and Nikita Kucherov out of the lineup. Explain that. We talked about it with the Raptors. Championship DNA. Tampa Bay Lightning. They lost an entire line. Kucherov, Point, Reilly. That's 2 lines. And they're still finding ways to get it done. So, sorry, that was a long way. There was a lot of context with, I'm sorry, Reilly Brody. Okay, fine. Muzzin Hall. That top 4 is not standing up against the likes of like Ekblad Uyghur with the Panthers, or Hedman Chernak, or McDonough, Sergachev. The Tampa Bay Lightning's left side is Hedman, McDonough, Sergachev. That's a cheat code. That's not fair. Ruda, I forgot to throw in there. Like, if Jan Ruda's your weakest link, I think you're doing pretty okay. So now, Leafs have a little bit of cap space because of LTIR, and they just know they're not good enough to take on the Tampa Bay Lightning in the playoffs, or at least it looks like it at the moment. They're going to have to make a change. I'm not saying this is a woe is me thing about the Leafs, not a doom and gloom thing about the Leafs. I'm saying this because they're good, and the standard has gone up. We're getting to the game in now. You see how I did that? Unreal. Oh, those pads are nice. Oh, keep those forever, Peter Mrazek. Keep those forever.
Yeah, and I think the one thing is they've got a little bit more confidence.
Boo! Chicago Blackhawks, by the way, basically turned the Leafs season around. Leafs were down 2-0 to the Blackhawks in Chicago during a pretty bad start to the season. Leafs came back and won that game in overtime. And I believe that was their first game in November, and they went on like they won 14 of 16, something dumb like that. Whoa, buddy. Oh. Kasha's going to be hungry. He's had a couple brief auditions on the top line, but boy, has he earned it as of late. The Blackhawks falling down all over the ice to start this game.
Play along with Alex DeBrincat and Patrick Kane tonight. Henrik Borgstrom did the honors in a win against Montreal 2 nights ago, but he's out of the lineup tonight.
The Blackhawks do have a player that I just cannot help but cheer for. Perhaps I'm supposed to be unbiased, but I do love this player. He's one of the first players I ever interviewed when I was covering junior. And he goes by the name of Calvin DeHaan. Just a really nice, genuine guy. He went viral on, it was either IG or TikTok the other day because he got tickets for his buddy who he met online and happens to play Call of Duty with. Which is amazing because, and I tell this story, because we were late for his interview when I was talking to him, when I was interviewing him for a junior hockey radio show that I used to work for, as the Leafs get an icing call here. And I was terrified. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get yelled at. This is a famous hockey player. Meanwhile, he was undrafted, played for the Gens, like the Oshawa Generals. Like, it just wasn't a big deal. And I call him and I'm like, in such a huff. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that we're late. We're going to be a few minutes late. We're just having technical difficulties, and I really apologize. He's just like, yeah, no, that's cool. Just sitting here playing Call of Duty. And that's what he was doing in 2009. 2021, he's still there. Blackhawks. Oh, boy.
Goals in back-to-back for the captain.
Peter Mrazek, buddy. Like, okay, that's a 2-on-1. Very early in the game. It's in the first 2 minutes. This is his third game as the Leaf, and so far they've all been bad. Like, that's just a shot. It's just a shot.
Potential 2-on-1 candidate, and there's a play in the middle of the ice that just a little hesitation for Hall, and what a
also, that's not the first time in recent memory Justin Hall did my least favorite thing on a 2-on-1. The Leafs have gotten better at this, and it's because of TJ Brodie.
Scored his first goal in 29 games.
Or in no small part due to TJ Brodie. Zaitsev used to do this all the time. What do you do on a 2-on-1? Do you take the shooter or do you take the passer? I can tell you this, you take one of them. But what Zaitsev used to do all the time and what Hall did there is he took neither! He just kind of skated backwards. Here come the Leafs trying to even it up. I would take the over on this game. Shots are 1-0, scores 1-0. As the Leafs head to the power play, Jake Muzzin getting taken down.
You give up an early goal, you get it back in the offensive zone, and as we've seen so often, Michael Bunting and now
do you like this mug?
on that line, they just hunt the puck down. Matthews comes in, Bunting gets one good chance that Lankinen
Shop Sportsnet Nut Store.
But here, coming down, there's the slash down to the
that's a
feet
trip.
of Muzzin. So Muzzin activating, coming down.
Reminder, if this is your first time
penalty and a power play early chance here for the
watch a Leafs game with Steve Dangle, that I cannot hear the game feed. So if you hear me repeating something, that's why. Yo, so this is Jonathan Toews' 27th game of the season. That was his second goal.
But 4 games in a row scoring 2, it just doesn't happen all that often.
When will the Leafs stop?
Right now, their confidence is.
They're one of the best teams in the league, and they still just cannot stop.
Reilly across. There's William Nylander.
Power play's been good, though. Second-ranked power play in the league. Jeez, I knew they were doing well. I didn't know it was that well. Hey! Take the over. Take the over. We are 3 shots into the game. And there are more goals than saves. Johnny Toronto! We're less than 3 minutes in. It's a 1-1 game. And the second-ranked power play in the league gets it done. Choo! That's just kind of a shot, too. I know it's John Tavares. He's got a great one, but, like, does this hit anything? Nope, just sort of beats Lankinen. Yep, take the over. Take the over, folks.
He continues his hot string. That's a 4-game scoring streak for the captain.
And points at
Kasha celebrating every goal like it's Game 7. I love it. Shots are 2-1 Leafs. Score is 1-1. We're 3 minutes in. Watch a Leafs game with Steve Dangle. I'm Steve Dangle. Click like, click subscribe. Tell all your friends. Producer Rob is sending me more questions, but on account of there's been 1,000 goals already. Hey, a save! Let's go there, Peter. First NHL save in 42 days. If that went in, I was going to turn my computer off. Producer Rob is sending me questions, but the goals are coming fast and furious here, so it's difficult. Ryan, is Hall tradable? Is he even valuable? That's a great question. You know what? He's big. He can skate. He makes $2 million, which sounds like a lot. But again, as a right-handed defender who has a track record of success, there's value there. I don't think you get bad at hockey overnight. I hate when people just go, oh yeah, he's bad now. Like whenever they talk about a player. Oh, Willie! Loves using that slap shot now, right? Yeah, I have a hard time believing Justin Hall just forgot how to play hockey. I think he maybe just needs a different situation. So I do think he's tradable. Do I think the Leafs get the sun and the moon for him? No. That's a good keep from Reilly and a good glove save from Kevin Lankinen.
Well, good response from both sides. He mentioned
Kayoya asks, thoughts on the Avalanche and their scoring pace? Yeah, producer Drew was texting me something today. I think it's that Colorado Avalanche over the last 14 games have more goals than something like half the league has total on the season. They've got like 75 goals or something like that. I mean, talk about regression. This is what we all thought the Avalanche would be. Their problem has been keeping the puck out of their own net. They're going to be just fine.
Assists have been coming fast and furious of late. There's a penalty coming up.
Rubin's getting a call here. Interference. That's his second penalty in 3 games. Sheldon Keefe isn't going to like that.
Was thinking about this one because it was a bang-bang play. If you're right on the puck, you can take the body.
Rubens definitely doesn't like it. Future Latvian Olympian. If they go to the Olympics. Yeah. See, that's soft, but I always say if it affects possession of the puck,
to me, that's not a penalty.
They're going to call it. And to me, that affects possession of the puck. Carpenter's got a good chance at beating Justin Hall to that puck. And Rubens knocks him off stride. Oh my God. So here's the thing with Peter Mrazek, and I might not even get through this sentence before he lets the ball. And I'm not saying this because I don't like him.
comes loose for
Jack
Kasha.
Campbell made me nervous when he
Andre
first
Kasha
became a
with
Leaf.
move
He did.
inside, and
Because
now
I
he'll
didn't
go
really
to
know
the
much
attack
about him
and
as
back.
Andre Kasha
And lose the
gets
puck
the puck around and gives it away.
Taves.
Um,
TJ Brody will
made
take
me
over
nervous.
the Leafs.
And
Had some
he
trouble killing
earned
penalties of late.
fans'
12
trust.
of their last 19, and that seems to coincide with the absence of Mitch Marner.
That happened. Frederick Anderson, you can't tell me he didn't make you nervous. And then he earned our trust. And then he lost it, but he had it for a really long time. Mrazek has not had an opportunity to gain Leafs fans' trust. He's played 2 games. He got hurt in both of them.
19th on the kill when they were top.
Was not good in either of them,
much
which
of
might be
November.
explained by the first part of that story.
50 seconds remaining,
And then he allows the first goal and the first shot in this one.
Here comes Patrick Keane, 30 points in
Blackhawks with the
19
worst power play in the
games
NHL
against
since
the
October
Leafs.
30th.
Oh, a big
And if
stop
that
by
went in,
Mrazek.
I was going to shut my computer off, I'm telling you. That's a big stop. Big stop by Peter Mrazek.
In the neutral zone, a little trading of the puck, and now attacking the net quickly. This is a huge save. As unable to get that one up and over.
That's a good shot for him to brink it too. Probably wishes he lifted it.
That's so important.
But, ooh, that's right on the skate.
Went down with his first injury
Big
in
stop.
Ottawa, making a toe
Way to
save.
go,
That
buddy.
time he was able to get there on
Always
the brink
believe in you.
and not allow him to make it a 2-1 game.
Shh, don't tell him.
The line by Kurashev. Now Doc trying to center, rejected by Muzzin. Again, a centering pass that hits the side of the net. The chance for Dylan Strome. Around it comes to Kubalik. 3 power play goals for Kubalik. Leafs don't get it.
I'm probably reading into this far too much, but there's something about Hall's body language too.
Gustafsson across.
He just kind of looks fed up or
back to
tired
Hall
or
now.
I don't know
Gustafsson
what.
again. He's shot off of Hall in front and retrieved here by Chicago. Strome again.
Bouncing
Shot
puck.
back from Kubalik.
Leafs reeling a little bit
Kurashev.
here, but they're
He'll walk
weathering
out
the
in front.
storm.
And a shot there, stopped by Mrazek. As Rubens returns to the ice.
Hall almost loses it, but that's a good battle. It's a good battle. All I ask is that you fight. Leafs got 3 defenders out there right now.
Back to Murphy and a blocker stop by Mrazek.
There's another stop from
Right in
Mrazek, I
the lead
think.
now. After the first shot by Taves beat him.
Rubens has to figure out his role here. You're a forward now. You're a forward.
Yep, fan on that. It'll be kept in the Toronto zone. Chicago with some momentum after the power play. And now loose for
Muzzin and Hall
Christian
dying out
Strome.
here.
Celebrates
What a
his
shift.
24th birthday here tonight, and he'll bounce it down.
Good
into
clear
the
from
Hawks' zone.
Rubens, and the Leafs get some fresh bodies. Much needed. Is this going to be the juiced line or just regular?
2 a.m. in
Looks regular. Yep.
Lafayette tonight.
Bunting, Matthews, Kasha.
Christian Rubens playing in his 3rd
I guess without
NHL
Marner
game
in the
for a
lineup,
big
it doesn't
week
make
for
much
him.
sense to use the juiced line.
Sure has, and you're 6'5", 227. You use your body. He's got 11 hits in the 2 games that he's played in so far, and he's looked really comfortable.
Here
comes Kasha and Bunting.
Backhand flips it into the glove of Blanket.
As the Leafs get an ozone draw
Holds on. So
after a
fast start
really
tonight. Taves scores
much
before the
needed
game's
penalty
2
kill.
minutes old, and 61 seconds
Both
later,
captains
John
get a
Tavares
goal.
the answer.
19 and 91. 1-1 as we hit commercial break here on Watch a Leafs Game with Steve Dangle. I'm Steve Dangle. Click like, click subscribe. Tell all your friends we're here every single Saturday that there is a Leaf game. If you show up on a Saturday where there is no Leaf game, I won't be here for Watch a Leafs Game with Steve Dangle. We could hang out. I don't know. Andrew, who is the defenseman you would add to Toronto? Are they realistic? So this is the problem, right? How many bad teams have defensemen who are available? I know, okay, here's who I would call. And don't be surprised if this happens. You know who's not doing well, who is actively building for the future, and who has a positive relationship with the Leafs' current general manager? Ron Francis with the Seattle Kraken. So, the Seattle Kraken loaded up on defenders. This is probably wishful thinking, But Mark Giordano is a UFA at the end of this year. Jamie Alexiak is someone who Seattle signed long-term. I doubt they would do that. Also no trade clause. Adam Larson is someone who they signed long-term. I doubt they would do that. They have Vince Dunn at 2 more years, and then he's an RFA. Carton Soucy, 2 more years, and he's a UFA. Hayden Fleury, who is dying to get in the lineup. He's a lefty and right D. I'm on capfriendly.com right now. He's an RFA at the end of this year. William Borgen, Jeremy Lozon. They have an abundance of defensemen. Now, do they make you competitive with the likes of Tampa and Florida? I don't know. Could they possibly make you better? Maybe. Here's the issue, though. How does trading them Justin Hall make any sense for them? And the answer, I'm pretty sure, is it doesn't. So that would have to be potentially 2 trades. But the Leafs making some sort of deal with the Seattle Kraken, to me, makes a ton of sense. Also keeping in mind that Dave Haxtell, the coach of the Seattle Kraken, managed the Leafs defense the last few years. So he would have been a big, DeBrincat. Man, that guy's got a shot. He would have been a big part of Justin Hall's development and getting him out of Mike Babcock purgatory. Oh, will he get in there? Leafs can't hold the zone. By the way, this is a hot chocolate with cream and a shot of espresso. Because I am going. Oh! Hey! Wow, that came out of nowhere. Nice place. I agree. Holy smokes, I was distracted by the Yellowstone ad they had at the top of the screen. What a goal from the second line / sort of top line, now that Marner's out of the lineup. Willie with the 6th zony, dangling around his own teammate and Timothy Liljegren. Dumps it into the behind the net for Tavares. 2 Blackhawks going after him, leaving William Nylander alone in front, basically. Look at this.
Gets inside on Kirby Dach, and
what is that from Kirby Dach?
Instead of attacking and trying to get it in position.
What a big pile of nothing.
Tavares, and this
he didn't do anything.
Their hot streak.
That's got to be a talking to on the bench. And now we are 11 shots into the game, and we have 3 goals. The Leafs are up 2-1. Willie's 13th of the season. I believe that was Tavares' 13th of the season as well. Matthews, I believe, with 17. What is that from? That's terrible. That's just bad all around from the Blackhawks. They really did get sunned by that pair of guys. Kerfoot just taking the plus like, I didn't even have to do anything.
Stingy since Derek King took over. It was a low event game in Montreal.
Not the greatest play from the Leafs there. And Mrazek settling down after a tough start, obviously. Willie in his last 9 games, 6 goals, 13 points. Yikes.
You're right. They started the year with 4+ goals against.
John asks, should Campbell make the All-Star team? Listen, Jack Campbell should be in consideration for the All-Star team. He should be in consideration for Team USA. Wow! Did he get it? All of that is very fun.
Taves appeals for a penalty in front. Well, here's the dig down deep from Jonathan Taves. He thought he was interfered with trying to get to the net by Camp. Camp has no stick, so he turns. Does he get a little grab in with the
gobbles the rebound?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's talking about.
What's he complaining about?
Camp doesn't have his stick, so he grabs Jonathan Taves.
Is he saying it was loose?
Rebound, and he's up immediately
Shut up.
Looking for a call and is unable to get it.
Oh, he's complaining about it. Shut up. Anyway, where was I going with that? Oh, Campbell. Yes, he should make the All-Star team. He should make Team USA or be in serious consideration for it. I just worry about workload.
Nylander from Tavares and
But,
Liljegren.
I mean, the way Campbell's career has gone, I don't think he ever thought he was going to make Team USA at the Olympics. I don't think he ever thought he was going to make an all-star team.
Simmons got it back, tried to feed the point.
Difficult to take those things away from him. You know, Rubens does not have bad wheels for a big guy, eh? There's a player there. Bit of a sink or swim scenario for him. Oh boy. Oh, what's going on here there, fellas?
And now it's Jones from an angle.
Stop from Mrazek again. The Leafs haven't had a ton of situations over the last few years where a defender has really been forced into a situation due to injury. Like Rubens, I don't think a lot of people had making this team or playing games on this team this year.
This is a big shift for the Toronto line here, fourth line against the Kane line here.
But it's time to test the Leafs' depth. All right, here we go. 46, Alex Steeves. I got excited for this sort of thing. Fourth line's on the ice. He's not going to get a ton of ice time. He's a rookie. He's not going to get many shifts in a game. What are you going to do with it, bud? Kyle Clifford like a freight train. There's Pierre Engvall. Clifford digging for it. Steeves must be in front of the net. Get in there, bud. Get in there, young fella. Kyle Clifford drawing a penalty. There you go. That's a good fourth line shift.
Hot Leaf power play gets another opportunity.
Well, hey, and how about that? A fourth line shift against the top line, and you know for Sheldon Keefe, that'll get you some
Mark
more
Crawford
ice
saying,
time. Good down work, creates turnovers, creates a penalty, power play coming up for the Leafs.
I don't know, bud. That's Kyle Clifford. Like, you can't exactly take him down easily. All right. We're in commercial break here on Watch the Leafs Game with Steve Dangle. I'm Steve Dangle. Click like, click subscribe, tell all your friends. When we come back, the Leafs will have a power play on the Chicago Blackhawks. They already have a power play goal tonight, and they'll have an opportunity to go up 3-1. Questions here. Alex, was putting Marner on LTIR a strategic move? So I'm going to say no. And here's why. I understand why. So Marner, I believe, has been on IR. So you don't get cap relief from that. You get cap relief from LTIR. Here's a problem. If you could just throw players on LTIR willy-nilly, everyone would abuse the system. But when you place a player on LTIR, they have to miss X amount of games. If I'm not mistaken, he either or both has to miss 10 games and 24 days. Now, you could argue, you know, some of the things I've said tonight. They need to add a defenseman. They've put a lot of points in the bank early in this season. So if they lose a few games without Marner, they can afford it. I think that's way too tinfoil hat. Mitch Marner is a very important player to the Leafs. He was playing really well when he got hurt, and he got hurt by complete fluke. Jake Muzzin in practice. It's way too tinfoil hat. Way too tinfoil hat. I think he's on LTIR because that's how much time he's going to miss. So it's strategic in the sense that if a player's hurt, you should put them on LTIR. Ideally, you'd like them back sooner. Luke said, I was going to scream Campbell for Vezina, but producer Rob said indoor voice. Campbell for Vezina? He's in the conversation. He's in the conversation. He's had a rough last few games, though.
After the Tavares goal to get them on the board tonight, the captain Matthews. Austin Matthews tracked by Taves in the pass.
Willie can't hold the line. 30 seconds in. Boy, Matthews is flying, though.
Thought about shooting there for a second, decided to go around and just unable to connect with Nylander out high.
Here's Nylander in. He looks for Tavares.
I think one thing we know from a lot of the award voting over the last few years is a lot of voting has to do with pedigree, and Campbell just doesn't have it. Like, there's something about name recognition. And I just feel like a lot of writers, a lot of the, or is it GMs who vote for the Vezina? I think it is. A lot of people who vote for these things will just be like, I don't want to be the guy who votes for Jack Campbell. Muzzin on the power play here in the absence of Rasmus Sandin. 30 seconds to go. Second unit.
I think every game we've done this year, there's been a
it's not been bad this season. Hard to have the second-ranked power play in the entire league without both units clicking. Oh, good fight from Bunting, but he can't hold the line. Leafs with maybe one more opportunity here. It's going to be difficult to gain the zone. A little stacked up at the line. This is a heavy unit. Muzzin, Simmons, Bunting, Ritchie. Who's the other guy? Engvall's huge. They didn't really do anything, but that is a heavy, heavy unit. Here comes Timothy Liljegren flying.
Timothy Liljegren had 4 shots on Thursday in the loss against Tampa. The Leaf Blue Liners had 15.
Got a bit of a weird line here. Kerfoot, Kampf, and Clifford.
I think Sheldon Keefe was as impressed with their offensive prowess as concerned with
sort of a post-power play line. Oh, is Clifford getting one here? No, he is not.
Interesting, though, how he correlated just their lack of offensive effectiveness, which created so many of those.
Whoa! Absolutely.
An easy call to make is Alex Kerfoot.
I don't know about kneeing, but that's dangerous.
A quick little stop up by Kerfoot.
Geez, the Blackhawks, what a mess. Their 3rd penalty of the evening.
Now he's just got foot.
I think that's Stillman's second too. Is that kneeing? I don't know what the call is because I can't hear it, but that could have been real bad for a player who's been so good this year. Really underrated season for Alexander Kerfoot. As we head to another commercial break. I have something on my shirt. I saw it on the screen. How many people watching this right now went, oh, he took it off. Anyway. Watch a Leafs game with Steve Dangle. I'm Steve Dangle. Click like, click subscribe. Tell all your friends. I've been on the internet long enough to know that sort of thing bothers people. So you're welcome. Leafs up 2-1 in the first period. They head to the power play. Let's get to your questions here in the chat. Leave them in the chat for producer Rob to find. Gavin, why can't this Leafs fan base be positive? Like, bless you. Genuinely bless you. TV in the spring. You need Sportsnet now. Go to snnow.ca. Use the promo code Dangle20 for a little discount. You know. What about the year before that? 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 How old are you? Why can't a Leaf fan be positive? Why can't Wile E. Coyote be positive? Although to his credit, he keeps trying. Maybe one day, Wile. Maybe one day. Evan, can you talk about the goalie depth? Not that I dislike Mrazek, but I'm worried. You know what, Evan? I have more faith in the Leafs goalie depth than I once did. Listen, Hutchinson is not an awesome option, but he's an NHL option. He's not great, but he can give you quality NHL starts. The only problem is he, just often doesn't. Mrazek, we straight up have not seen enough of to even evaluate. Wall has been better than I thought, and a guy who I think we could see sooner rather than later, if there's an injury, that is Eric Kallgren. Bit of a struggle Oh, here we go. Hey, Austin Matthews. Off the feed from Kasha. I promised to finish that goalie thought.
Well, on the doorstep again is Kasha, and he's starting to get a little bit of a
long skate back to the box.
And he keeps this
3-1. What was the over for this game? You're welcome that I told you to take it. That's 4 goals here in the first period. Willie puts it on. Kasha to Matthews and in. Matthews 18th of the season. I think that moves him into the top 3 for goal scoring in the league, unless there were some goals today. Man, this Leafs power play is clicking. Spencer Carberry, by the way. It seems like Manny Malhotra, whoever was running the power play the last few years, we knew their name because of how much the Leafs power play struggled. Spencer Carberry, I believe last year's AHL Coach of the Year, joined the Leafs as an assistant, and he's running the power play this year, and he has turned it into one of the most lethal units in the sport. Whoa! Kampf almost bagging one. Rubens! Oh, Richie! Come on, bud! You got to jump on that.
After their third 3-goal first period,
Rubens wants his first. He wants it so bad. Get in there, lad.
Again, that's an amazing
Get in there, lad.
With 2 power play goals is just keeping that one alive and Manning.
It's out of play. Goalie thought. Caldgren had a bit of a struggle start to the NHL season, or AHL season, I should say. Got a concussion, unfortunately. But after being a signing from Sweden, he's actually I read on Twitter he was a 924 in the AHL this season. According to Hockey DB, he's a 928 in 9 games with the Toronto Marlies this year. That's really good. Really good for the 25-year-old goaltender. Whoa! Kerfoot taken for a bit of a ride.
A pass for Tavares, let that fly, and
jeez.
It ends up out of play.
We're less than 16 minutes into Kerfoot's night, and he's taken a couple bumps.
JackpotCity.net. Casino games perfectly made for you.
Marcus, you have become the GM of the Leafs. Congrats. Do you fire Hall into the sun?
We talked early on of the Leafs unable to score early.
No. And I tell you why. He's a really popular teammate. I was surprised by this. At Leafs Media Day, I got to talk to the Leafs about the biggest bromance on the team. You know, those typical, not very journalistic media day questions. And we got a lot of Willie and Sandy.
Got things started for Chicago. Off the glove of Brody, and he takes the handoff from Mrazek. Tried to clear, hit the teammate, but Nylander finds it, then back to the attack. Line mates are changing, and now he wants to head off. Tried to play it in deep. Engvall unable to come up with that.
Love each other. They're just the best of friends.
Brody takes a look, sent it ahead off the stick of.
He's a really positive guy.
Back inside the Chicago line. Under 3.5.
Sorry, I don't know if you lost me there for a few seconds. My power didn't go out, as far as I know. I don't know what happened. Did you hear my story about how Justin Hall and Mitch Marner are like really good friends? They had the biggest bromance on the team? No? Okay.
To the left side, Reilly couldn't reach it.
Now
Chicago turns with
apparently you didn't. According to producer Stu, what a stop by Mrazek. I thought that went in.
Keane tried to go over the glove, and now we've got a penalty.
What happened?
The Leafs are going to be shorthanded. The question is, will it be 2
Brinket
or 4?
looking shaken up. Did he get a high stick?
Look at Brinket. I don't
what
see
happened?
any blood, so I believe it's going to be 2. But a turnover with Patrick Kane on the ice is usually in the
Patrick
back
Kane
of your net.
flying in, and whoa, he was looking for that corner. What'd I miss?
Down, and as the play went across,
there's the Brinket.
Just an errant stick there by Kasha.
Oh, careless. Who was that?
Side of your screen, right by the net.
That's a careless high stick. Kasha. Come on, bud.
But the power play will get their
That's a careless high stick, and now DeBrinket's out there for the power play and could make the Leafs pay. Sheldon Keefe there talking to the kid, Alex Steves. The Leafs really like that kid. Boom. Wide. Another reason, why you don't fire Justin Hall into the sun, because again, I don't know how much of that you heard. We had a bit of a glitch. I still think he's an effective penalty killer.
They had 10 power play goals in their first 10, and really
I think Liljegren is all right there, and he'll get better.
Off the toe of Ryan Carpenter, now Jones will bring them
But
back
like
in.
you saw the heart that he showed on the last Leafs kill.
That of Morgan Reilly so far this season.
Again, I don't think players forget how to play hockey. I don't. Like this is close to too many men. I don't think players forget how to play hockey. Like Leaf fans, remember it was less than a calendar year ago. We were gloating about how Justin Hall shut down Connor McDavid. Now, that was probably hyperbole, or hyperbole, depending on how festive you feel. But he did a good job. He did do a good job against Connor McDavid, and he did a good job against the players. And magically, he doesn't have it anymore. So, do the Leafs wait for him to get it back? Do they... Oh, my God, what happened there? Do they wait for him to get it back? Do they cut bait? Any team trading for Justin Hall isn't taking him out of charity. They're taking him because they think he can do good things for their team.
Yeah, he got a piece of that one, Chris. He slid across well.
And this kill is going pretty well for the Leafs.
He almost slid too far off the post on this play, though.
Jessica, if you could pick two Marlies players to bring up, who would you pick? Ooh. Wow, what a good question. Well, okay, so I've gotten a few questions recently about where on earth is Nick Robertson? And what are the updates on Rodion Amirov? And the answer for both of them is they're injured. So Robertson hasn't played very much. That's because he's hurt.
You know, there's another example of just.
And Amirov hasn't played very much in the KHL. Because the KHL kind of sucks. And he's hurt. So he was hurt. He's back now, and they just haven't bloody played him. Looking at the Marlies lineup, I would like to see more Joey Anderson. I just don't feel like I know that player at all, really. And the Leafs had such high hopes for him.
But this is ideally what Kyle Dubas and Sheldon Keefe were hoping for, two professional.
And I'm contemplating this next answer, but I'll just throw it out there. Philip Kral. Philip Kral. A lot of stats nerds were talking about him. His numbers this year are obviously not mind-blowing. He's got 2 assists in 16 games. But he's a defender, pretty regular size. But man, during exhibition, I was really impressed with that player. I liked him. Saved by Mrazek, but not by much, as the Leafs kill the penalty off, but the Blackhawks still have the puck in the offensive zone. Kosha's got to get in there. Here he comes, and there he goes. Kasha breaking out. Willie. Kerfoot. Leafs can't hold the line. Hall scurries back to get it. As we are in the final 40 seconds of the first period. High event, to say the least. 23 shots so far. 4 of them went in. 3 of them for the Leafs. Rubin's out there to end the period. I like this from Sheldon Keefe. See what the kid's got. Keefe's feedback last game was that he battled hard, Rubins did, but that he looked overwhelmed at times. He's already been in the box once tonight. Kid's got to prove himself as the clock winds down and the first period ends. Peter Mrazek allowing the first shot of the game, and none since. Leafs power play. Click, click, clicking. Because the Blackhawks are letting them, taking way too many calls. Leafs power play has 2 goals. We got goals from Tavares, Willie, and Austin. As Leafs, Look at that. That ice has to be terrible. It was a warm day in Toronto. Does the Leafs take a 3-1 lead in the first intermission? Let's do a couple questions, and then we'll go to some Sportsnet content. And, I forgot to mention this. We have a guest who's going to be joining us second intermission and through the second period. Justin Bourne, former pro hockey player, college hockey player, radio show host currently, worked for the Marlies, worked directly for Sheldon Keefe.
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
I know his music.
Are you a big Justin Bieber fan?
No.
His biggest strength as a player would probably be his hands. He's got nice mitts.
He's a good skater.
Oh, look at that. Oh, in the skates too. That's a great move.
For a non-professional, like, he's pretty dialed in. I mean, his backhand needs to get that up.
Yeah, he's great. Look at that. You could probably play on Austin's wing.
That's a nice move. Floater.
That's not bad. You can't do that in the game. That's an all-star move.
No days off. That's for sure. I think he's using Willie Nylander's stick right there too.
I'm not sure, but like, shirt off with the toque though. Holding in the body heat.
It's definitely helping.
You know what? He's got his shirt off, looking good. So it's promoting the game. That's what you want to see.
No. But this is what the kids do these days.
You know what? He'd be a great beer leaguer, probably Division A.
Like, if he shows up at your beer league, he's scoring 5-6.
You ever met Hughes? Never. Hoping to, but busy guy. I'm available. I've been lucky enough to play with him actually.
We've played hockey with Beebs a couple times. He is a shooter mentality first like I've never seen.
He loves to score goals, and I really appreciate that.
It's pretty funny when we did get to skate with him and go on the ice with him. You'd think he would want to try and pass the puck to like Austin or I to try and score goals, but he was taking it solo by himself down the ice, so it was good on him.
His chow rating, he's got good hands, skates well. Probably, I'd give him like a 80 at least. I'd probably give him somewhere around 80, I think. It's pretty, yeah, there's room, but let's see, like, he's been working on this game.
He's got this little balance board and stick handling thing at his house, and he showed us it. And really speaking, it was really impressive, actually. His stick handling was probably like an 80-ish.
They gave me an 87, so 88. No.
I'd give him like a 74. Well, like, he's good, he can play, but like, you know, he's not in the NHL.
His like music skills probably touching 100. Voice 99.
99 singing for sure, 99 talent for everything else, but yeah, like he can definitely play hockey, but I'd have to give him like a little bit of a lower rating because he's not quite up to the same standard that his singing and performing is.
Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, drafted first overall, 10 years apart. And when you look at these two, they are generational talents.
Here comes Crosby the other way. Sidney Crosby to the goal shot. He scores! Sidney Crosby with a great individual play. The Penguins have tied the game at 2, and it's a power play goal.
Watch this move. Absolutely brilliant. Watch the wide base, the quick hands by Sidney Crosby. Look at that.
Sick.
Never ends with this guy. You never know. You can't blink. You can't look away.
Only a matter of time before they started to convert, and Connor McDavid and the power play group has said they're getting the chances they want. They just got to execute.
Here's McDavid all the way. Scores! Did that just happen?
Puck is loose. Crosby went in to steal it. Takes it around the net. Sidney Crosby coming out. Tied up. Gets loose again. Shakes off that check. Goes the other way. Crosby owning the puck. Trying to get out front of the net. Crosby does get out. his knees, got it back. Letang fires, scores! What a goal by Crosby and Letang! Give Crosby a couple of assists on that one. Whoa, baby!
To Eberle. Eberle pushes it ahead. Here is McDavid. McDavid trying to split the defense. McDavid, what a play! What a goal! Oh my, Gunnar McDavid, welcome back!
Wow is all I can say is absolutely wow.
Sees part for Crosby to the goal. He scores! Another backhander by Sid.
It was a one-hander, wasn't it? I think it was a one-hand wrist shot up in the air by the glove hand. Sidney Crosby, he's got it all. You try that at home. I'm telling you, folks, that's near impossible.
Kerfoot, pass, interceptor, then McDavid against Morgan Reilly. McDavid, what a move! What a play! What a goal! It's along the board, but Crosby digs it out, tries to feed, Gensel, knocked out of the air, Crosby! Unbelievable goal! Crosby toward the net against Kincaid, fires off the post, back across, score!
13:57 of the third. Speaking of Connor, here's McDavid, beat him in, shoots and scores! He's done it again! Coast to coast, and this game is tied!
Are you absolutely kidding me? He catches it with speed for the first time in this game. There's 3 Winnipeg Jets that are in between him and the goal, and he's just not going to be denied.
Drop pass, Crosby. Crosby to the forehand. Watched by Strome, has been out here a long time. Crosby from the corner, twisting and turning. Inside out, beautiful move. Trying to get the shot off. He holds, he shoots, he scores! Here comes Sidney Crosby. Surrounded by Canadians. Shoots the puck and scores! Oh, what a play by Crosby. He beat everybody that time.
That was absolutely stupendous. What a move, Sidney Crosby. It was 1-on-4. He was surrounded and falling down. Was able to go glove side on Abisher.
One of the best goals we've ever seen in this building, really. I've never seen anybody score a goal like that.
Oilers got the matchup they wanted. Rangers having trouble changing here. McDavid, beautiful move. In on it. What can you say?
Look at this. Talk about stick handling the forward. What a move around Georgiev to finish it off. You just knew that Connor McDavid was going to make a statement. What a goal.
Oh my goodness! Marc-Andre Fleury.
Oh, Fleury robs him. What a save made by Marc-Andre Fleury. He's got Tony with him. Double check in on his own. Great save made by Fleury. Oh, there's some old school action there.
Here's Green to the goal. He does not score because Marc-Andre Fleury makes a great save, reaching back and snagging that puck on the goal line.
Watch Fleury's glove right on the goal line. Hello. Spectacular save. Wheeler takes over once again. Stop. Shifley, one-timer, great save. Another shot. Another save by Marc-Andre Fleury. Shifley in the sweet spot. Couldn't get this one to go thanks to the flower. Dominic Moore with another shot. Break. Oh my goodness, he had the hat trick right there. And Marc-Andre Fleury snatched it away. Wow.
Up here by Hall, centering try, in front, comes to Henry, pulled the trigger on a shot, and it's Fleury who whacked it out of midair.
That is an athletic play, remarkable play for Marc-Andre Fleury. That is a spectacular play by the goaltender Fleury.
That was Gudis. The Flyers get the puck, and the outlet is on the money. Giroux cutting on in. Oh, Fleury robs him. What a save by Marc-Andre Fleury never gives up on a play, reaches back, and keeps this game scoreless.
2-on-1 if they can hurry. Coltoine out of Lundestrom, backhand, and Fleury made the stop. What a save by Fleury across with that left arm.
Now Mikheyev carries on the left wing. Took a shot in the goal post. Backhand. Oh my, what a save! Holy Mackinac, what a save made by Marc-Andre Fleury.
Carlson into the Penguin zone. Carlson drops it off. MacArthur back to Carlson. Oh my goodness! Marc-Andre Fleury with one of the most amazing saves I've ever seen. That's one of the greatest saves I've ever seen.
Hey, everybody. Watch a Leafs game. Steve Dangle. And also a friend. Click like, click subscribe, tell all your friends. We got Justin Bourne here. Hey.
I'll take it.
Yeah, why not? Why not? So, what you were laying some stats on me, and the Leafs are up 3-1, which right, but there were some holes.
Yeah, our show has we get these stats from SportLogic at every intermission, and generally you can't even make anything of it. It's a bunch of numbers. It's small sample stuff, so you don't overreact. But the Leafs did scoring chances off the rush with 3-0 Chicago. Odd man rushes 2-0 Chicago. And Chicago exited their zone with success when they tried to break us 93% of the time, which is very high. For Leafs, usually a very good forechecking team. So a couple places that weren't perfect that period.
So Marner takes a lot of crap, and I feel like he's in this weird purgatory where everyone just wants to see what they see with him, and it's all negative. For example, the power play is clicking like hell right now, and he's out of the lineup, and it's no coincidence. Meanwhile, I'm watching this defense that has played pretty well over the last 5 weeks play like garbage for the last week, and I don't know who's been out.
Yeah,
who's been out? Like what do you see in him?
Yeah.
And do you see anything that's changed this year from last?
No, it's a really good point. It's like the guy can't win. Just one of the, if you put all of the NHL players, put all their sticks in the middle, metaphorically, and let everyone, draft players, like Marner for me is one of those guys who still goes in the top, 20 guys in the entire NHL. And people might think that's a slight. It's really, really good. He's ridiculous. The power play is one of those things that, like, they're so talented. Sometimes it clicks and you get lucky and a few go in, and their chances, their goals on the power play, or goal on the power play there tonight in particular. But yeah, defensively they look a little weaker and they don't have someone as high. It's one of those sneaky things that Marner does well, right? He's like always in the right spots and supports his team, and they pinch down. And that was one of the the first goal, or was it even the Taves goal, where there wasn't someone covering, it's an odd man rush. And yeah, man, I don't think it's a huge coincidence. Where are you on the on Team Marner? I assume you're a Marner enjoyer like myself.
Well, I defended him at every turn last year.
Yeah.
And even during the Montreal series, like the early part of it, people were getting on him. And I'm like, well, okay, the top line has outscored Montreal. I don't remember at what point in the series this was, but the top line is outscoring Montreal 3-0. Mm-hmm. And that's not as wide a margin as you would hope for, but it's 3-0.
Right.
They're plus
They're not
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have not allowed a goal. I defended him at every turn, and it wasn't until he buckled in games 5, 6, and 7 where I was just like, oh boy, we have a problem here.
Yeah.
And those 3 games might have cost him a spot on the Olympic team, of all things. That's what they were talking about. You didn't see all that?
Well, it was a show. Armstrong, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Armstrong was just, if you're referring to what I think you're referring to, Armstrong was talking about success in big games, the playoffs, World Championships. Is that the quote you're talking about?
I think so.
Yeah. So there was a little fuss made about that. But to me, what I heard Doug Armstrong saying was justifying Andrew Mangiapane. Because we were talking about guys who were at the fringes and what Doug thought of, these different value guys. And he was saying, I need to have seen success, and not just in the playoffs, the World Championships too. It was like this. He went out of his way to be like that. That was what I took from it. I didn't hear, anything that was specifically a Marner slight. It's one of those Leafs Nation thing that I think got twisted. I mean, if Marner's not on the Canadian Olympic team, I think we've gone mental.
I thought the direct quote was Tom Wilson is a better player than Mitch Marner.
Yeah, no.
Was that?
That might have been on another show.
Oh, okay.
The Tom Wilson thing is fascinating, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I had to do a little bit on him on Hockey Central last night. And how do you say that you don't think a guy should be on the Canadian Olympic team without taking away from someone you think is an unbelievable hockey player? Because you have to list their negative attributes, right?
Right.
And so, I think Tom Wilson is awesome and valuable and heavy and all those things that, the hockey men like, but also all the other things everyone else should like. He's on the edge stuff. I understand he crosses some lines, but I love him. He's not. He's not Mitch Marner. He's not going to be a knockdown, drag-out wall against the Chinese Olympics that we need Tom Wilson out there for. So, I don't know. I like Wilson, but not for Canada.
Yeah, it's just putting him above Marner. I was scanning NHL.com because I'm a loser, and there are two players currently playing who have exactly 100 goals in their career. One is Tom Wilson, and the other is Vlad Nemesnikov, who has done it in fewer games. And Wilson is going to make it over Marner.
No. But that's
the thing. I don't know.
But that's the thing is, you're not bringing him for his offense. I understand he's 24 points in 26 games. He plays with Ovechkin and Kuznetsov, like Steve. You have 20. So you're not bringing him for his offense. So what's his role? Is he a pure defensive specialist? Well, Mitch Marner got Selke votes.
Right.
And and penalty killer. So if you're going to take a guy who's a PKD guy, Marner's got him there too. Not to mention, people get hurt. All of a sudden you're down Jonathan Huberdeau or, whoever it might be. Who would you rather play in your top six if all of a sudden you got to pull someone out of the press box and it's Wilson or Marner? We overthink the hell out of this stuff, man. Marner's fourth in the league in scoring last year.
Isn't that unbelievable? I know. By the way, the game is just about to come back, but I do want to stay on this because it's always amazing to me where the idea that a player can't get it done begins. Mm-hmm. Because the narrative around Mitch Marner right now, you can't win. They're never going to win with this guy. It reminds me so much of Taylor Hall, who in junior, because I covered him in junior, as the Leafs got a chance right at the start of the period. I covered him in junior. That kid was synonymous with winning.
Yeah.
He was Windsor Spitfire's best player for 2 straight years because they won back-to-back Memorial Cups.
So I don't think Hall had won 2 Memorial Cups.
He won a Memorial Cup the year before he was draft eligible, and then he won it in his draft year as well. And was an animal. Yeah. He was an animal on those teams. He was part of a those Windsor Spitfire teams. They played Tavares and Kadri's London Knights in a 5-game series that broke an OHL record because all 5 games went to overtime. They overcame a 3-0 series deficit against Jeff Skinner's Kitchener Rangers. They just found ways to win. They were synonymous with winning, and now he's this bum.
Yeah. It's one thing I'm always torn on is how much is one player? Is this Matthews hurt here, or do we?
He got hit with the puck there in the forearm.
Okay, I think we can handle that.
He's okay.
I'm always torn on the idea, how much is one player responsible for their team's lack of success if the team is garbage? And the answer is not none. If you're a key player, you're a star guy, top, it's not none. But like, what percentage of it is it in hockey when you can only have the puck so much? You can only do so much. So I legitimately, I kick that around. Hall is a guy that I look at in the NHL and I say, if he had the opportunity to be in Phil Kessel's role in the Penguins Cup winning teams, be the second, third line, guy like that, this guy wins cups and everyone's like, it's a totally different story. Same with Kessel, if he never wins those cups, he's yeah. So, maybe that changes my perception of a guy like Hall, that he's not, one of the 10 best players in the league. All he is a very good all-star that can complement a team. So it changes my opinion of him in that direction.
Right. So you briefly mentioned your radio show, sir, and it was just great that, you're full circle right now, because I was there for your radio apprenticeship when you and I were in studio with Scott MacArthur as we both pretended to know baseball.
Just faking it.
Just totally letting him. All right, Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, I didn't like the arm slot on that reliever, the grip of the way he did the throwing.
Guys, it's going to be a hot take. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is quite good.
Yeah, you should see this guy hit it. He hits it so good. Woo!
I think that was stopped there by
sneaky good. I know that's not them here, but who's been sneaky good is the fourth line they've put together the last 4 or 5 periods here. Clifford, Engvall, and Steves.
Oh yeah,
I've really liked them.
I like this Steves kid. I want to see more of him. Oh, what the?
Oh, did he catch that?
He did, I think. Mrazek's such an adventure, man.
What did we just see?
We're going to have to get another look at this. This is a fun Hockey Night in Canada battle. Peter Mrazek versus Kevin Lankinen. This is not what I thought we were going to get.
Yeah, no. Kevin Lankinen does not look Hockey Night in Canada worthy so far.
No.
What
happened? You know what? That's pretty
sad. He gets a paddle on it.
I like it. The paddle save Emporium. Here we go.
I felt terrible for Mrazek. This poor guy's played 5 periods for the Leafs. Starts the game 2 minutes in. They give up Jonathan Taves from the forward tees.
His second goal in 27 games.
I was looking at the Blackhawks team stats tonight, and I was like, the leading scorers are Jones, Kane, DeBrincat, and then Hagel, who has 11 points. 11 points is their fourth leading scorer, and I was like, whoa, Taves is the 10. How many games? Every game. He's played all 26.
I need to know if he's on Canada's long list for the Olympics. I know he's definitely not going to make it.
I bet money he is.
So I did a little sniffing around. And here's why that's important. I did a little sniffing around. I don't know about Taves, but I'm fairly confident Nazem Kadri is not on Canada's long list.
I also heard that.
Which is a miss.
The leading goal scorers in Canada, the leading Canadian actual goal scorers right now are Mangiapane and Kadri.
Oh my god, and they both might not make it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wow, that's crazy.
Tough country to make.
That reminds me a little bit of, I think it was 2010 when Stamkos somehow didn't make it during a season where I'm pretty sure he got 40 goals. Whoa!
Missed the target there. Good look for
and who else did he make that? He's, man, what a revelation. I love that player.
I'm on the tiny screen here, but yeah, I love him too. Hey,
shift in the first
period. Fast and shoot it hard enough. It's going to go in sometimes.
Yeah. What a genuinely interesting player.
I know. This line, though, man, look at them. Like ozone time, shots, cycle it, change sides. Coach or skills guys love to change sides, and then the Lankinen, and you are hot garbage, though.
Because I was going to give Steves the credit for the big screen. He saw that whole thing.
Great screen. Yeah, no, it was. But Lankinen, Fleury's like, I don't want to do this.
No, he's thinking about it, though.
Yeah, Engvall's a fascinating guy.
So you used to be. So what was your job exactly for the Toronto Marlies?
It was the title was just video coach.
Right.
Yeah, it's essentially just marking games, pre-scouting opponents, putting up our system sheet, just evaluating our team and opponents essentially. But because it's an AHL staff, you don't have 150 people. So in a coach's room, it's just me, Sheldon, and AJ, talking over the hockey game. So it's I had a lot of good shoulder-to-shoulder time with Sheldon, which at the time felt stressful and I didn't enjoy it, but it worked out.
So how did you get that gig?
Yeah. So just writing the systems analyst post for the Score. I used to get, like, when Sheldon and Kyle were with the Sioux, like I get the odd coach from like junior or whatever that'll be like, actually, you got this wrong on that breakdown. Here's why this guy should have gone there or whatever. And Dubas and Keith used to DM me and be like, love this piece. The first time I talked to Sheldon Keith, he DM'd me because I wrote an article on why college was a better route for a player trying to get to the NHL, and he was like, "What, are you stupid?" And I was like, "No, dude, I don't even know." But yeah, just kind of formed like a DM relationship over stuff I was writing with those guys. And then honest to God truth, is when the Leafs fired everyone, remember they purged like the whole staff?
2015, I think.
Yeah, it was 2015. I was out drinking one night with a bunch of buddies, came home like pretty in the bag, and at like 1 a.m, I sent Dubas a DM that was like, "Hey, see, you guys are light staffed. If you ever need anyone to do anything, I'm available." And like he responded either that night or the next morning, like, could not have been more perfect timing. I'll reach out to you later or something. And like, they needed someone.
Get out of here.
Yeah, actually, this might have been 2013 or 14, because 2014, all I know is that led to me clipping video for them of UFAs and potential draft picks. So I was just around for a summer doing like a little like just video stuff for them. And then that built to the next year when Babcock got hired. He wanted an extra video coach, called up the AHL coach partway through the year, and they were empty-handed, and I was had been around for a year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, serendipity or luck. You always hear people that like end up in like different places say like luck had a lot to do with it. Like luck had everything to do with that.
Yeah, but I would call that making your own luck.
I appreciate that. It's the old shoot your shot at 1 a.m. after you've been drinking is not good advice. But
yeah, but
there's the reaction. I got the stick on it, not the blocker, as the Brinket tried to go just up and over the pad, but Mrazek in good positioning. And over.
Well, apparently Peter Mrazek makes giant saves when we have technical difficulties. That was unreal. I'm sorry, Barney, where were you? I can't remember. Or was
I got the job through luck. You know what concerns me right now with this Leafs action here is they went up 5-1 on that Blue Jackets team, and then they just went, even if we give up a few, who cares, And all of a sudden Campbell's in there like matrixing bullets. Now they had to make about 3 giant saves since they went up 4-1.
Matrixing bullets is actually the opposite of what goaltenders are supposed to do. What a stop! Okay, he should not be having to do this though. Like to your point.
Like if your groins are made of paper mache, you'd prefer to not have to make, dynamic saves every 2 minutes.
Holy crap.
This season, that one was a
trying to all things positive on the Leafs. The concern with the Hall Muzzin thing's real for me, man.
Yeah, so I was going to ask about that. So I hammer guys in my videos and everything, but I've also a big proponent of good players don't forget how to play hockey.
Right. There's that's good Justin Hall right there. Really good.
Unless he gets called.
Maybe take a penalty.
I hope he doesn't get called. Yeah, there you go. He's good. So
Hall right there.
So he doesn't. Good players don't forget how to play hockey. He was pretty effective last year. He's been maybe the worst defender on the team this year. Well, why?
You know, it's funny because, like, you think about his career arc. He wasn't like a first overall pick that's been kicking around the league. Like, you know, obviously the progression, you're very familiar with it.
Yep.
And, like, things kind of worked, and he found that crescendo, that perfect year, the prime of his career. But, like, I don't know, is there a chance that maybe he's a fringe NHL guy, maybe a third pair guy, and he played so well at his best that, you know, we think of him as a second pair guy, but really he's like a third pair NHL guy? You know, Kiprios on our show has been like, they got to get another top four guy, and it's like easier said than done and easy to say, but it might be right.
Yeah, this is usually for my Leafs post-game videos, my LFRs, I try to tell the story of the game. And the last game I didn't do that because I was like, listen, okay, we're a third of the way through the season. And I know after this game against Tampa in particular, I know two things about this team. One, they're really good. Two, they're not good enough.
Love that.
And like right now, they're sixth in the NHL and third in their own division, which is just the hockey gods laughing at our pain.
Yes.
And so you got to plan ahead. And right now, it looks like if the playoffs were to begin tomorrow, they'd be playing either the Lightning or the Panthers. Exactly. So, and you can't, as good as they are and as good as they've been, you cannot throw out Huzzen. You can't throw out Hall Muzzin.
Neither Huzzen nor Maul.
Yeah. I don't think you can throw out Muzzin Liljegren as much as I like it. Like, it's just, dude, you're competing with monsters.
Yeah, and remember, like, was the Tom Wilson conversation we had on or off air? I think it was on.
I think that one made it. I'm not sure.
Okay. But, like, I want to make the case that Liljegren is a good player and probably an NHLer and useful to the Leafs, while saying that he's not good enough to be a part of the playoff solution as a shutdown guy alongside Jake Muzzin. Like, that to me seems, I don't know, fairly obvious. He's an excellent player with some nice upside. I really, you know, I want to say good thing after good thing so you believe me here. But the point is that he's not going to be the answer.
Right.
To me. And I bet that come playoffs, he's not the guy that's in that spot, that he's the seventh guy. He comes in and plays games. You know, he's a part of this thing, and if someone gets hurt, you see him, but he's not a part of our six come playoffs.
I do want to say two quick things. First of all, you're watch a Leafs game with Steve Dangle. I'm Steve Dangle. It's Justin Bourne. Click like, click subscribe, tell all your friends. The other thing that I wondered is Alex Steeves got his first NHL point on the Engvall goal. Hooray!
Yay!
That's very cool.
That's
very
awesome.
cool. So, there's no game on right now. What is Sheldon Keefe like in real life?
That's a heavy question. Honestly, that's a really complicated question. You know, if you asked me 2 years after I worked for Sheldon, you know, how I felt about him, it would have been different than when I did work for him. I think I took the job as someone underqualified for the job because the job is very IT involved. It's like tech heavy. Like you got to set up a server and connect the 5 laptops. You take it on the road. There's a router. There's cords everywhere. Like, I'm not that guy. Like, I'm tech capable, but I'm not. And so it's a very fast-paced environment. And I felt flummoxed and stressed a lot in the early going. And Sheldon was very what's the word? He wasn't soft on me about it. But the point,
unsympathetic?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was looking for. But he, on the other hand, was a first-time pro hockey coach in the AHL, elevated from Sioux to be with the Maple Leafs organization in what essentially was going to make, break, and define him as a coach. Like, the pressure on him was huge. So I understand why he was the way he was with me. It was a high demand environment, and as I got better at my job, and he understood I was working hard, I was learning, I was, he softened and grew to respect my opinion. And I would say in my second year, I had say in, what we wanted to do as a staff. That first year, man, was not good. Like, it was tough. But, I toughed it out and I learned, and now I'm better for it. But yeah, he worked me pretty good.
I believe it. I'm interested. Do you pay much attention to his quotes these days?
I don't, yes, everything.
So what I've noticed about him, especially lately, is compliments are few and far between. And that's because expectations are really high. How do players receive that? And is he perhaps kinder one-on-one?
Yeah, what's interesting too is, like, I think after that between my first year with him and my second year, he actually went to a bunch of conferences about communication and getting better at, working with people. And, he had been in Pembroke, it was just him. After that, it was a smaller staff with the Sioux. The Marlies, it's like you got nutritionists and, there's a lot of people coming and going, and that wasn't a strength of his. So I think he learned to be better one-on-one and learned to connect people with people, and learned that having people in the coach's office is a better place to confront them than in front of, the team at large sometimes. So he's worked on himself, man. I think he's a different man than the man I first got to know in 2015. I genuinely believe that.
I noticed something like that too. I'd been covering the Marlies for a little while, and there was this kid who was also covering them, and he was 19, and he just asked Sheldon the wrong question. And Sheldon got upset. And this kid, like, he's asking me for advice. And I'm like, buddy, you're barking up the wrong tree here. Blind leading the blind. But I was like, listen, I'm confident if you were to have a one-on-one conversation with him and just explain yourself, it would be okay. And, you're 19, you get really intimidated in those moments. And he ended up being perfectly pleasant.
Yeah, good. I early in my time with Sheldon, I learned that if you're going to say something, you have better thought about why you're saying it, and you better, mean what you say. The example I think of is, game 20 with Sheldon, my first year with him. I remember saying something like, Justin Hall's soft. Like, he looked soft. Like, he had a soft game or something. He goes, show me. I was like, what? He was like, okay, he was soft. You're the video coach. Show me where he was soft. Show me the clips. And I was like, why? I don't have clips. I just, like, it looked that way to me. And he was like, well, okay. Well, if you're gonna speak up, I want, by tomorrow, you watch the game again and you bring in the clips, or you think Justin Hall was soft. And, it's like, shit, and excuse my language.
It's YouTube.
And it is. It was actually a really good reality check that maybe sounds harsh on Sheldon's part, but it is a reality check. Like, fans, we just throw our opinion out there, And, like, if you can't back it up when you're in that situation where you're making decisions about livelihoods and playing time and all that, it's not fair to that player either. So, yeah, I like that reporter. I had to learn to really know what I was talking about and mean it before I spoke up.
So I interviewed Sheldon Keefe right around the time that you would have started with the team. And it's interesting that it was Hall in particular, because the article I interviewed him for, I asked him and Dubas separately who they thought the most underrated Marlies defenseman was and underrated Marlies forward.
Yeah.
They both separately from each other said Justin Hall, who was not even on an NHL deal at the time. And the forward they mentioned was this guy, he was like 6th or 7th on Marley, scoring really unimpressive. Zach Hyman, I don't know if you heard of him, but yeah, they ended up being quite right. So I think they've always been very protective of Justin Hall.
You know, if there's one thing that, you know, may end up being either the downfall or the thing that is heralded about Dubas, if it all works, is his belief in the people that have been with him and his willingness to, you know, you ever had a muffin with Dubas, he'll hire you. You know, like it's, you know, you played with him junior, you're back on the squad, like it's, you know, he's loyal. He's loyal.
So what you're saying is the Leafs are Christians Rubens injury away from signing Martin Marincin.
Don't rule it out, man. Like if he don't rule it out. You know, if he thinks he's better than the next guy, he'll do it.
I will cry. I promise I'll cry in public.
I will say I admire his willingness to stick with what he's believed in by and large, not trading any of these kids. You know, continuing to stick with. You know, he just traded a big tough guy for a 5'11" defenseman, you know, but that stuff's worked by and large.
After acquiring another big tough guy for nothing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess he did fill that quota with the Clifford pickup.
Yeah, I think the Marlies are pretty well protected.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know if you've seen that roster. Rich Clune.
I know Clune's there. That's enough for me.
They had Kyle Clifford, Curtis Douglas, who's 6'9". My favorite Rich Clune thing, other than him scoring the Game 7 winner against Albany, which was sick, was were you part of that team, by the way? God, that was a great
the highlight of my time there for sure.
That was awesome. But someone on the Marlies got hit from behind, and Clune goes confetti gloves and grabs the guy on the other team and beats the brakes off of him. Here's the problem. He grabbed the wrong guy.
Oh, no.
We're talking about like the toughest dude in the AHL, and
that's
he just
the other guy, and you're just like, wrong guy.
What do you even say?
I had to put together a video. The AHL crackdown when I was there on one-man fights. So like there was like these enforcers who wanted to make themselves relevant, and everyone else is like, we're developing players here. We don't have time for whatever it is you're doing. And these guys would, you know, drop their gloves and start throwing. And you know, in hockey, the guy's got his gloves off and he's punching you. Your best chance at not dying is taking your gloves off and grabbing, you know, like. So the league wanted to crack down on one-man fights, and I had to put together a video to send to the league, and it was like just Rich Clune. It was like,
oh no!
It was like, I think it was 9 fights long, and like legitimately 6 of them were dicky. Just like didn't like how someone behaved. Just decided it was time for them.
What a terrifying individual.
He is. He's a beautiful man, though, as you know.
He's gorgeous. He's gorgeous.
Yeah. I also meant it his heart and soul. I didn't mean on top of being handsome, but yeah.
And he's gorgeous.
And he's gorgeous too.
And an actor, and just well accomplished, and an IG model who can deadlift an elephant.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what he does with his career after. You know, it kind of feels to me like he's in this transition phase where, you know, he's a part player. He's a little bit Reg Dunlop right now. Like, you know, they hand him whatever rookie they want to develop. And they, you know, I think he'll be involved in some capacity with Dubas and Keefe on some staff somewhere.
Actually, this is a bit of an on-the-spot question, but you've had many interactions with pro players from your time playing and also in college and also with the Marlies. Who's a player who you've crossed paths with who you are convinced is going to be a coach one day?
I played online with Jeremy Colleton.
Oh, well, there's one.
Yeah, he was pretty solid for sure. That's a good question. You know, there's a guy. The problem is a lot of these guys in the minors, like you would know the name, but a guy named Scott Ford played forever in the minors. You know, he was a guy that was just really, you know, thoughtful guy. The thing is, like, I feel like you have to be around one organization a long time to get in. You know, play at one place for a long time so they give you a chance to otherwise you got to go be an assistant in like the, FP2HL or something, and it takes forever to get there. So that's the tough step for guys who played in the minors. Did you play somewhere long enough to convince people you should stick around? Dick is doing that.
Yeah. Leafs are on the penalty kill here. The Blackhawks have the worst penalty, or second worst, power play in the NHL since Halloween.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, since Halloween. Not in the. I think it said 31st earlier, and I said they were dead last, and my brain has not adjusted. There are 32 teams.
Jones going to lead them in. Here's Seth Jones. Spinning it
Who is
back
that?
to the line to brink it.
I'm not
Sure. Really, look like Hall. Sorry, Muzzin. So really solid beat.
Yeah, I want to watch this penalty kill here with you, but not ask too many questions, because when we get a break in the play, like maybe a TV timeout, there was a story you once told in my podcast years ago about what it's like to play against John Scott. And I want to give that the time it deserves, but for now I want to watch the penalty kill and sort of what you see.
How about the Steve Dangle podcast network? Congratulations on all that. That's awesome. My lord. It's great, man.
We have fun. We have a lot of fun. We interviewed Peter Mansbridge the other day.
Did you?
Yeah.
I once had Dan Schulman on a show, and I was like, The Voice. Do I have a chance, or he's just like, no, like you just can't. Like Peter Mansbridge, like Schulman, The Voices those guys have, you just never get there. There's no amount of coaching or work.
When I was an intern, I had to give it. Whoa! Oh my God!
Drop spot.
Mrazek's been, you know what? Since allowing the first shot, he's been lights out.
He's been amazing tonight.
Real good.
The goal he let in was like a perfectly placed snapper on an odd man rush inside the post.
It's good to get your perspective on that, because I watched that and I'm like, oh, Peter, buddy.
Yeah, you know what? To be honest, I did too, Steve. I watched that and I was like, oh. But then I watched it a couple of times. It's in a pretty tight pocket there.
Our coworker Ken Reed made a great point. He's like, whenever there's a goal, it's what the mistake was that led to it. Which, I mean, if you're a video coach, fair enough. But if you're like just a broadcaster and you're talking about the highlights, what's wrong with just going, wow, look at this goal. Look at how good it was.
I had this conversation with myself because Kipper and I are doing one of these live streams when I think you're getting a break one night, and I was thinking about doing it, next sometime down the road here, and I was like,
we spoke too soon.
Yeah.
Blackhawks get
my general bent is to look for the thing to fix as a player and a coach. What went wrong? How do we fix it? How do we do better? And if someone does something good, it's just like, well, keep doing that. So you don't think about it as much?
Yeah, just keep doing that. I don't know if this one goes in. I guess we're going to get a look.
It's a pretty good angle here. What a great screen it looks like.
Yeah, he didn't see anything.
Let's have a look on that. But the goalie coach will tell you, he needs to be looking around that and finding the puck, and he's standing upright. I don't know why he's standing upright.
I call it the meerkat.
Yeah, you can do that in a crouch and lower on the sides a little bit. You don't need to be up over his shoulders.
Yeah, I loved James Reimer as a Leaf with all my heart, but that was his one tendency that I hated. Is a lot of goals went in because of the meerkat.
Yeah, you're like, make a goalie shape. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you're the biggest goalie in the league, dude. Just you'll be fine.
Face the puck. Get big.
God, I love that he's doing well this year. Just the vindication.
You feel validated by the whole thing.
Well, he does this I don't know. He's sort of a hot and cold goalie, but whenever he has a hot streak, people go, oh, and I'm like, why are you surprised? He does this all the time.
Yeah, he's on my list of people I've been writing off for a long time, and keep proving me wrong. You know what the other one is? Ovechkin. I'm on year 5, being like, here comes a decline.
So he's a guy who I've been talking about him in Steve's hat picks recently, and
much merch. Your life.
This merch that you can get at shopsportsnet.store.
Makes you forget about a so-called
There's a bar I used to go to in the before time, in the long ago, before COVID, and they would just show games from like the late 80s and early 90s, and they would show Gretzky highlights, which to me, so I was born the year Gretzky got traded to the Kings, so like I don't remember him with the Oilers. 88. So I don't remember that at all. But you watch old Gretzky highlights, they're hilarious because all he does is just shoot it and it goes in. Whoa! Mrazek with another shot. He just shoots it and it goes in.
This is a concern. This reminds me of the Columbus game where it's like, can we not require the goalie to make 37 10 bellers to get out of this with the 2 points?
Like, it's not even just that he's doing all those 10 bellers. The Leafs have 14 friggin' shots.
Yeah, can we play down there? We're getting outshot by 10 by Chicago. It's not ideal.
It's Kevin Lankinen. Shoot.
Yeah. Doesn't that remind you of the Airs game?
Oh! Like, they got 7.
Stopped by Mrazek.
Did I bring it up?
You know what's funny? So 2021 on my YouTube channel has been an extremely good year. A lot of people have been watching a lot of my videos. The third highest viewed video in 2021 is the David Ayres video that I shot in February 2020.
Didn't it used to cross 1 million views or something? Or
it's getting there. It's at 913,000.
If you're Derek King right now,
Sorry, where I was going with that Gretzky story is he just shoots, and you're like, oh, every goalie in the 80s sucked. And one day, a kid born today is going to watch old Ovechkin highlights and just be like, he literally just stood there.
I know.
All he had to do was stand there and shoot it. And I don't know, what if he's just like the best shooter of all time? Or one of them?
Dmitry Filipovich put a video out of Ovechkin's like 4-goal game in his rookie year. You know, he scores 4. The OT winner. I mean, this is like, I don't know, a month ago he shared the video. But I watched it and I went, God, Christopher Huey sucks. You know, like the goaltending from then, I don't know what year he was a rookie, 06.
2006. Yeah.
You know, like, that was, I guess it's 15 years ago, but, like, the evolution in goaltending from then, when we thought goaltending was, like, Waugh, Brodeur, you know, like, J.S. Jaguar was kind of coming around, like, it's gotten so much better in that time. And you know what's gotten better faster, though, now? Shooting has gotten better.
Yes.
It's the first generation of kids that have grown, you know, that we're seeing now that grew up with like flexible sticks. I used an iron piece of rebar when I was a kid.
It's wild to me. Like, I still remember, I think it was Sportsnet. I'm not totally sure. They did a piece with, like, I think it was Jake Gardner and Morgan Reilly, and they made them practice with a wooden stick. And neither of them could do it.
I know. It is so funny when we look back. You imagine him playing then, you know, we were playing then, and it's like, all right, we'll put him in that equipment. You know, let's start with that. Those skates then were a little different.
If you put Connor McDavid and Maurice Richard, yeah, okay, give Connor McDavid leather skates.
Yeah.
Let's see how his
You're going to buy your baby those, like, runner skates in the next few years, I'm sure, and that's basically what Richard was on.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I badly want to... he'll be 18 months by Christmas.
Amazing.
And I just cannot wait. That's right. You and I remember we were talking about, hey, we're having babies in the middle of a pandemic. That's odd.
This is suboptimal.
This is not how I pictured this going. As we head into second intermission, the Leafs with a 4-2 lead over the Chicago Blackhawks. A multi-goal lead heading into the third period is ideal for most teams, but I shall be nervous for the rest of the evening. You want to do a couple questions from the chat since we didn't really get to any of them? Oh boy. This is not an easy question. Byron, who I assume is not a Leafs fan, said, what happened to the Habs? I am very sad.
Is it Paul Byron? That would make a lot of sense.
Can you imagine? He's just tweeting. He's just in the chat from the press box.
You know, I think sometimes in sports, you do your best with what you can control, and you put it into the machine, and you get outputs. And then you react off the outputs. Sometimes the outputs don't reflect what you've put in. The Habs put a pretty mediocre team on the ice last year.
Yep.
They got the outputs that said they were good.
Yep.
You can either recognize that that was not the right outcome for the quality of your team, or you can say, yes, actually, we were good. I believe that. The Habs believed the bad information those wins gave them. They were not that good a team last year. They barely made the playoffs by the skin of their teeth. Them beating the Leafs is almost undiscussable. And John Tavares' injury was a much bigger deal than we make of it. We say, hey, you should win without him. But when your whole team is built on beating 4 guys and one's missing, pretty important. So, and then from there, they beat a bad Jets team. The Vegas can't score.
bad.
I mean, and then they get beat by by a good team. They just believe too much in a small sample of playoff results. That's my take.
All right. And last one, Cody asked, what former Leaf who's still active in the NHL do you want back?
First off, I love that question.
That's great.
You know who it is?
Who?
I have an awesome answer. Evan Rodriguez.
What?
He was in
so good, eh?
He was in the Kasperi Kapanen trade. He came over, and the Leafs didn't qualify him. He's got 18 points in 25 games. He's on the first line in Pittsburgh with Sidney Crosby, 28 years old. He's making $1 million. The Leafs would kill for him.
Oh, my God. I really,
I know.
Hilarious. It's too hilarious. But 6th place in the NHL. Third in their division.
Well, always could be better, but not complaining. I've enjoyed the season a ton.
Yeah, that's a bit too long of a book title, but there's something there. Justin Bourne, JT Bourne on Twitter. Dude, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining. And God, hopefully more shots on Kevin Lankinen to come.
Yeah, buddy. Anytime. Thanks for having me. Love what you're doing here. Revolutionizing the industry, Steve. I love it.
Oh, heavens. You were one of the first that made me go, you know what, maybe I'm smart. Because I wrote an article years ago, and you wrote an article after that was basically, what a great article.
Good for me, because I support it.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I read it, and I was like, his article is just about how good my article is. Thank you.
For the score when I had to write 8 articles a day, because I was looking for work then, bud.
No, you did it because you really believed it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, definitely. All right, everybody. That was Justin. Good to talk to you, dude. Watch the Leafs game with Steve Dangle. I'm Steve Dangle. That was Justin Bourne. Click like, click subscribe, tell all your friends, and we'll be back after some original Sportsnet content. Hashtag.
Johnson trying to get it out, got it to center. Matthews will carry it in. Austin Matthews, great move, scores! What a move by Austin Matthews, and the Leafs are on the board.
Holzer pitching, gets by him in right center. Outlet pass for Cassian, now to McDavid. McDavid drives his way in. Here is Connor McDavid! Upstairs, what a goal! Wow! He roofed that right on the doorstep, and it's 5-2.
Wow! Connor McDavid again with brilliance. Matthews knocked the puck out of the air, snaps a shot, he scores! Wow, what a shot! Austin Matthews quickly makes this 2-1 Toronto.
A week ago in Edmonton, but that's a tough game to play. Here's a chance, scores! Austin Matthews takes a puck away. He's got his 35th of the year.
And look at his reaction. He can't even believe what just transpired there.
Connor McDavid scores! What a goal!
What a move in tight by McDavid for his 40th goal of the year. That's a highlight reel one there. Look at this. Bring it back between the legs, tuck it top shelf on the blocker's side. No big deal.
That allows the Leafs to come out. Here's Nylander, crisscrossing with Kapanen. Nylander drops it off. Matthews, nice move. Backhand shot, he scores. A spectacular goal. Second of the game for Matthews.
Last night. Here comes Austin Matthews moving in. Scores! What a play by Matthews. That is dynamite.
Superstar play here, period. Only a matter of time before they started to convert, and Connor McDavid and the power play group has said they're getting the chances they want, they just got to execute.
Here's McDavid all the way, scores! Did that just happen? Connor McDavid, coast to coast.
Wow, or do that. Don't set it up, just take it end to end and walk through everybody and tuck it upstairs.
This is Matthews, gains control. Trying to find some room. Oh, great work. He gets free. Shoots, scores! What a goal! Matthews, magnificent!
Are you kidding me? He knocks this one out of the air. Then he puts it through Hoffman's legs. Then he flips it into the zone. Steals it off of Erik Karlsson. Walks in. See you later. Thank you very much.
Kerfoot. Pass intercepted, and McDavid against Morgan Reilly. McDavid, what a move! What a play! What a goal! Connor McDavid! It's 6-3 for Edmonton. Absolutely undressed them. To Everly. Everly pushes it ahead. Here is McDavid. McDavid trying to split the defense. McDavid, what a play! What a goal! Oh my! Connor McDavid, welcome back! The Oilers with a 2-1 lead on a spectacular goal.
Wow is all I can say is absolutely wow.
Hola. Wow, that's a lot of face. I don't know why it zoomed in like that. Hi. Steve Dangle here. Welcome back to Watch a Leafs Game with Steve Dangle. I'm Steve Dangle. And boy, am I Steve Dangle. God, there's way too much of me. All right. Well, sure we'll fix that. We'll figure that out. Leafs up 4-2. Leafs up 4-2. There we go. Heading into the third period, we had Justin Bourne on during the second period. That was a lot of fun. That was really cool. Former video coach for the Toronto Marlies. Current radio host for Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Leafs with just, if I'm not mistaken, 14 shots through two periods, which is okay because 4 of them went in. But Peter Mrazek has had to make a number of 10-bell saves. And for a goalie who, as Justin Bourne described it, has a groin made of paper mache, that is perhaps less than ideal. Let's get to some of your questions. And before that, click like, click subscribe, tell all your friends. Nope, still zoomed in. All right. Click like, click subscribe, tell all your friends to join Watch a Leafs Game with Steve Dangle. Before we get to your questions, I have a question. Is Steve wearing pants? Hey, there it is. Every week we play Is Steve wearing pants? Sweatpants, been a popular one. Jeans, been a popular one. Hockey pants has been an option. It's a very windy day. What do you think I'm wearing? 10, 9, 8. Leave a guess in the chat. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The windiest day ever, but I don't care. I'm wearing shorts. Look at those calves. Look at them. It's difficult. Oh! Did you hear that? That was all hip. Well, that's good though. That's good. I think that was the what's that joint called? The SI joint? Woo! That was a spicy crack. Goodness gracious. My, everybody. Whew. Did you guess shorts? You were correct. Let's get to your questions. And don't forget, snnow.ca. By the way, if you want to get SN Now, Sportsnet Now, all you got to do, enter the promo code DANGLE20. You get 20% off your first 3 months of Sportsnet Now. Don't remember what I said? Look at the banner thing. Look at it. You see? Look at it. snnow.ca. Andrew, final score prediction. That's evil. I would like 7-2. I'm not kidding. There's no reason for the Leafs to not go pedal to the metal here. They got a goalie in net for them who's playing lights out. And they got a goalie in net for the Blackhawks who's been awful. 14 shots is not good enough. That's way too much score effects. You can't just give up in the game. Part of what made the Leafs so good in November wasn't just that they were good defensively. It's that they never took their foot off the gas. 7-2. Show me what you're made of. Donnie, what is your most obscure piece of memorabilia? Have you done a tour of the Blue Room? I have. There was a technical difficulty with my last Blue Room tour, and I had to delete it. So if you didn't watch it live, you had to go. But I'm going to do two things. One, that Mitch Marner toy right there, I'm going to adjust it because it's askew, and I know it's bugging people. Number two, I'm going to grab my most obscure piece of memorabilia. There you go, Mitch. There you go. All right. Let me grab the mic here. So what you are seeing is a Wendell Clark movie poster for a movie that doesn't exist. It is signed by Leafs play-by-play announcer Joe Bowen. Or no, sorry. It is signed by Wendell Clark, addressed to Joe Bowen. And the reason I have this is because my buddy did audio-visual setup at Joe Bowen's house. And Joe Bowen has way too much stuff, so he gave it to my buddy, and my buddy gave it to me. There you go. I also have, these are Tim Brent's game-used gloves. Remember Tim Brent? They're Leaf fans. They have, they've seen better days. Oh, woo! Those smell. They're light as a feather, though. So let me tell you a story. Before we get to the third period, let me tell you a story about that equipment sale. So I got those gloves at a Leafs equipment sale. Luke Schenn was a very popular Leaf at the time. Popular amongst Leaf fans because he was the big hope. Popular with the ladies because he's a handsome guy. There was a lady there. Big Luke Schenn fan. She picked up a pair of his game-used gloves. Now, there was not a lot of Luke Schenn stuff because it was very popular. She picked up a pair of his gloves and she bought them. in here, in the glove, you can see there's a little bit of a pocket, right? You can't fit much in there, but you can fit something in there. For example, you could fit a mouth guard. In his pair of game-used gloves, there was a, unbeknownst to the Leafs equipment, whoever was selling the stuff, I assume, unbeknownst to the staff, there was a Luke Shen mouth guard in there. The lady tried it on. Yep. Yeah. Starting to think it wasn't a bat. Yeah, that's nasty. That's wow. Wow. Every time I tell that story, you ever have a story in your head that's not that bad because you're not saying it out loud, and then you say it out loud and you're like, oh my God? That's that story. You can't do that. Why would you do that? Don't do that. Michael, are you hiding a Reimer shrine? I have Reimer stuff. Isn't it visible? There he is. That's the famous $60 James Reimer figure because it's limited edition. There he is. No. There you go. There he is. I interviewed him when he was with the Panthers. There he is holding his Optimus Prime mask. No. There is the front cover of a magazine that is now gone. But I wrote an article where I interviewed the two hopes for the Leafs' future, James Reimer and Keith Ollie. Yeah. I miss James. I miss him a lot. 1T Sport. Can the LFR be named Mrazzle Dazzle? You got yourself a deal. LFR, by the way, stands for Leafs Fan Reaction. Cassidy, what is your comfort food? Yeah. Oh, look, the game's back. Leafs getting outshot 26-14. That's just unacceptable, especially on home ice, and especially against the Blackhawks. Like, for the love of God. Guys, I know you're up 4-2. You were up 4-1. Shoot. On occasion. Comfort food, Whoa! Big hit from Jake Muzzin. And that'll draw a crowd. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And why is that not a penalty? Why is that not a penalty?
Didn't look like the play was going to continue.
Oh, he almost blew the whistle. Reese Johnson is down on the bench, and
Muzzin would give Jonathan Taves a very bad day.
High shoulder and possibly head. You're gonna have to look at the replay in slow motion.
I don't know who that was who he hit. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Oh, what is your comfort food? I am a big believer in trying. Oh boy, they're going off. Is that Ryan Johnson? I'm a big believer in trying as hard as you can to not order the same thing every time you go to a restaurant. If you've ordered a bunch of things off the menu and you've discovered your favorite thing, then I think it's fine to get the same thing. But if you've only tried a restaurant once or twice, I encourage you to try a variety of different things. There is an exception to that rule, and that is Jack Astor's chicken fingers. I will order that every time. Oh, and a goal. And the Leafs, I mean, boy, not good enough at all. They were up 5-1 against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Win the game 5-4. They were up 4-1 in this game, and now early in the third, huge hit from Muzzin. Looked like shoulder to shoulder to me. I'd have to see it again.
But here's a speed mismatch.
Leafs up 4-1, and now it's 4-3. And it's really not Peter Mrazek's fault at all. I know I've talked about this game, how Mrazek hasn't exactly inspired confidence in his 2 previous starts with the Leafs. But noteworthy from both those games is the Leafs were terrible in front of him. And now the Blackhawks are 1 shot away from doubling up the Leafs in shots and tying the game. It's not good enough. This is the 6th place team in the league. And if the playoffs started today, look at that. Those people aren't even in their seats yet from intermission. If the playoffs started today, the Leafs would be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning. Oh, the Leafs have this injury and that injury. The Lightning don't have Point, Kucherov, or Reilly. Please do not talk to me about injuries. Please. Please. Well, my 7-2 prediction's out the window. We'll have to settle for 7-3.
Camp took a whack at that, knocked down by Connor Murphy.
That's optimism.
Played in by Muzzin once again.
Leafs hold the line.
Almost very similar to the Columbus.
So Cassidy, update to what is your comfort level? Low.
They allowed Columbus to make it interesting and get themselves back into it a little bit.
Moon. Who on the Leafs would do the best if able to compete in an ice skating competition? Ooh.
On the forecheck as well, along with Ryan
Ooh.
Carpenter, and it'll be played to the Leaf line and out.
I gotta say Marner.
Assisting on that.
He's always doing weird stuff,
The second that is now
like
the
in
difference
warm-ups
in
and everything. And
Steve's had it chopped away from him. Engvall's on it.
remember, ice skating is like, it's not necessarily about speed. It's about who can do the fanciest footwork and everything, and who can do like jumps and spins. Marner's posted videos of like jumping off trampolines and stuff on skates. I think it'd be Marner. Oh, as Kasha almost gets his own rebound. Really would have had a good chance of burying that. Lankinen had no idea where the puck was. Here he comes again.
He's been watching at the other end. He only had 3 shots in the entire second period. And
You know what? Oh man, something just dawned on me. Andre Kasha plays like Andreas Janssen did when Janssen was at his best. Janssen, for a pretty good player, and he's been very good in New Jersey this year, but there are a lot of games where he looked super pedestrian. But when he was at his best, he was dogged.
Hawks will flip it in. Chicago's had tremendous
And
success.
Kasha is reminding me of that a little bit.
8-0-4 in their last 12. They won in Montreal 2 nights ago. They have won 7 straight there. Now Matthews trying to get that to the net, locked in front.
Lankinen is scared to death of that Matthews shot. Matthews has already bitten him once, and he hit the crossbar.
Here comes Morgan Reilly. Nylander put it on goal.
As Willie puts it on and gets an offensive zone draw. Still not even 5 minutes into this period. Leafs only have a 1-goal lead.
A proud part of
from Yams.
A
Shout
proud
out
fan
Yams.
of hockey wherever it's played.
As a fan of the snow, as long as it doesn't affect... Oh, sorry. I read that wrong. Are you a fan of the snow as long as it doesn't affect your parking ability? I am always a fan of the snow. Oh, here's Muzzin on Johnson. Whoom!
Right on the corner of the
Yeah.
secondary, to me, looked like it was
I don't think that was a headshot, but there was definitely some whiplash. That did not look comfy. That neck really snapped.
St. Pierre and Sutherland
Listen,
both the hit.
today was windy as hell. We've been getting a lot of rain.
Still no
The rain sucks.
clear cut.
There are times when the rain is great.
Result
November and
of
December
the
rain
Here's to Pritchard.
stink as how are the Leafs doing this?
Mrazek has
Oh boy.
took him towards the line, but that puck did not cross the line. And Peter Mrazek able to thwart Patrick Keane again.
And it's transition.
The highest paid Maple Leaf sports and entertainment employee
Get caught in as Morgan Reilly stayed in a
is the
little
person
long.
in charge of painting the Leafs dressing room
What a pass by DeBrincat, and then Mrazek just trying to stop his
at Scotiabank
momentum, which
Arena
is going
every time
backwards.
Sheldon
Feels
Keefe
it
tears the
between
paint
his
off of it.
And he just tries to anchor himself and make sure he doesn't
Okay, that didn't go in.
Lundgren does a nice job of getting his
They might
stick in
review
there
it, but
as well as
there's
Kane's
no...
body had 5-0. You could see just
You
a
can't
little
see
high,
where the puck is,
and
but
he's
also
able to
Mrazek,
squeeze the legs and hold on
barely
and keep
any of
that
his
one out
equipment
the back of
enters the
net.
net. Yeah. Unless the puck got caught in the tongue of his skate, I don't think that was a goal.
player in scoring in NHL history. The next man ahead
Anyway,
of him
snow better than rain,
happens to be
always.
Daryl Sittler.
And you know what? I pulled off a god tier parallel park the other day. So bring on the snow. I'm not even scared. I'm not even scared.
On the breakaway, stopped by Mrazek.
You know, it's been a little bit of a frustrating year for Kane.
You know, let's get another look at the save here.
There's been much speculation in Chicago. If this wasn't
Mrazek just
surgery and not even be in there.
I mean, he's had groin troubles and he tested those muscles there, squeezing as tight as he possibly can.
Another odd man rush.
Leafs got a face-off win there. From Jimmy, where does Mikheyev fit in this lineup, especially with so many important players out? Is there space? Producer Rob. Oh, sorry. If you say trade him, I will be sad. So, I don't know if you'll like this, but I think this is what's going to happen. Remember, Mikheyev asked for a trade, and Dubas refused. He said no, because we get an icing call. Dubas refused to trade Mikheyev even though he asked for it, because he said, no, look, listen, you're too important part of a team.
You're John Dutton, aren't you?
But Mikheyev felt he wasn't important enough because he wanted a top 6 role. The Leafs during the preseason were giving Mikheyev every opportunity to get a top 6 role. And then I think it was in the last preseason game, he gets injured.
Yeah, just the 2 points in the bank. And
now he's back.
From the second period
or
on, about
coming back very soon.
I don't think he's been too happy with
Kerfoot has been so good that it feels unfair to take that spot away from him. But we know the Leafs really like Kerfoot on the third line. Oh, man, but then you're taking Richie off there, and he's actually been playing well there. How do you take Bunting off the top line at this point? I think they're going to give Mikheyev a look because it's the right thing to do. Because they wanted to get him a look. And I think they want to make sure he's happy.
6.5 into the third, and a face-off in the Chicago zone, controlled by the Hawks.
And you're not going to like this, producer Rob. If they can't find a fit, do not be shocked if they try to find a trade for him.
Jake Muzzin ahead for Liljegren.
It's always tough to be the guy
From his side of center. That's an icing call
out of the lineup
against Toronto.
when the team does awesome.
Well, a young modern family takes on the world together. Run the Burbs. A new
Justin, do you like popcorn? This is for science. Yes, I like crushing popcorn. I'm a big, I shovel it, shovel popcorn, and I demolish the whole bag.
Shot attempts 37-29 Chicago.
I'll demolish it until I'm dehydrated. I'm SpongeBob. I love it. I love it. A lot of bag popcorn, like I'm talking about like the pre-made kind, is not the best. It's not as good as like a hot, freshly popped popcorn. That Orville Redenbacher movie-style popcorn. Is that going to be my next, am I ordering that? I'm letting it hang out on the porch? That happened last week. I forgot about that. I ordered dinner. And I had to sit there 45 minutes because I think it went to a shootout. Whatever. I have an air fryer. That was great. A nice, greasy, spicy dinner at like 10 at night. Man, there's still a wild amount of time left in this game. Leafs still only up 1. Montreal losing again. Buffalo, man, this team doesn't go away. They got jobbed, by the way. Ooh, the Islanders winning. Out-of-town scoreboard. I don't know if you saw, but Buffalo lost to the Rangers 2-1 yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And they had a goal that would have tied the game that was disallowed because of offside. The call on the ice was good goal. They reviewed it, disallowed it, And it was announced today that they got the review wrong.
Went by him on the left, and it's an icing call.
Well, a lot of good that does the Buffalo Sabres.
Bakers are back to whisk you a merry, great Canadian
And
baking
watch.
show holiday special.
Watch.
On CBC and CBC
That
10
lost point or two in the standings
away from the big day.
could seriously alter the face of the NHL for the next generation. And I'm not joking. Because what happens if those 1 or 2 points the Sabres lost because of an error in the video review room? Not the first one in the last 12 months, by the way. What if because of that error in the video room, that alters the draft lottery and where teams land?
Ball to Muzzin. And off Ritchie down into the Chicago zone.
People remember the Patrick Stefan open net, empty net that he missed. Oilers go the other way and score. Those extra points in the standings the Oilers got ended up changing their draft lottery position and gave the Chicago Blackhawks the first overall pick in 2007, which turned out to be Patrick Kane. Actually. So if you don't think one game can have that big of an effect, I got news for you, friend. That's a franchise changer for both. For both teams involved.
How to start with a new team or how not to. Matthews over the line. Here's Kasha.
Where does McDavid end up in this equation? Where does Draisaitl end up in this equation?
Off the stick of Matthews, and Chicago dumps it out, but here they come again. Bunting drops.
Oh, Leafs look good here. Oh, Bunting. I like that. I like that. He did have Kasha, but I like that attempt. As we are halfway through the third period now, the Leafs showing some life after going up 4-1 on the Blackhawks and just completely taking their foot off the gas, and now it's a 1-goal game. Good keep from Reilly. He kept that. He kept that. Leafs basically abandoned the zone.
Jonathan Taves for Brandon Hagel. Carpenter up on the line in the
CC asks, will Dubas be forced to make a trade? Well, it's not good to have Mitch Marner on LTIR, and we talked about this earlier. It's not good to have Marner on missing. Oh my God!
It's 3 straight for Chicago to tie it.
It was 4-1.
Win the battles down low, and credit the Hawks, they just keep coming. Their D have been really active, but here you've got a 4 against 3 for the Leafs. Steves tries to get it back.
Misery loves company, so I'm going to tweet out the link.
The gap is too far, so Steves unable to close the gap there. And then look at all the bodies in front. That one goes right by Kyle Clifford as McCabe.
Let's see what happened here.
Moving laterally, the quick wrister through traffic. It didn't look like Hagel got a piece.
Way too much traffic in front. Mrazek does not see it.
Too deep in his net, and look at how
I don't
far
think he
down
sees that.
He's trying to look underneath the bodies in front, and that one goes up and over.
It was 4-1. Leafs go into Chicago. They're down 2-0. They erase it. They come back and win in overtime. Chicago comes to Toronto, goes down 4-1.
With just over 9 minutes to go in the third period.
And with 9 minutes to go in the third period, it is a tied game 4-4. Man. So for everyone who's like, oh, are the Leafs, did they put Marner on LTIR to get some cap finagling? No. Because they're bad without him, you see. Oh my God. The Blackhawks have a very obvious plan. Fire on a big old bunch of muffins and just crash the net in the opposite order. And the Leafs are letting them. This works against the Leafs every time. That's what Montreal did. Hey, what if we just make life slightly difficult for the Leafs and they buckle? An alarming amount of the time.
Through to the net. Rebound to Brickett, the centering pass. Off a stick it out. Leafs will hit on a
Gavin, are you surprised by Tampa losing 4-0 to Ottawa? I mean, yeah, but it's an 82-game season. The Kraken are one of the worst teams in the league, and they've beaten like the Panthers, the Hurricanes. This could be something.
And a bad angle shot stopped by Lankinen.
To be down 4-1 and have the ability to make this a game is just something that
the Leafs play the Kraken soon.
Into the game
for the first time ever in Seattle. This is part of the Western trip. Oh my God.
Justin Hall back for Bunting. Hall's jumped up on the rush. Bunting kicked it to a stick.
Whoa!
Can't stop. What a chance for Kasha.
Man, the Leafs have had some brutal games on these streams, huh? 7-1 loss to Pittsburgh. They blow a 4-1 lead in this game. Game 7 against Montreal. Game 5 against Montreal. Game 6 against Montreal. A lot of Montreal ones in there.
Now a pass for Kubalik missed the mark, and that's icing Chicago.
Boy, oh boy.
Well, don't miss the new CBC original comedy about growing up
4-1.
in the 1980s.
4-1, guys. You can't.
This January
You can't. I love the chat.
Chicago with 3 straight since.
Leafs just blew a 4-1 lead at home against an awful team. And our next question comes from York. Favorite gelato flavor? Okay, so this is not my favorite ice cream flavor. But I do really... Oh. Am I attracted to that pass?
And now the captain to work. Centers it, Reilly, and not...
It's not my favorite ice cream flavor, but I do really like it as a gelato pistachio. Tavares, perhaps fortunate to get away with a bit of a cross-check there. Oh, maybe he didn't.
So a hand pass. Halts play.
Or is Liljegren offside?
6:07 left in the third period. And Jake McCabe has equalized for the Hawks.
Watch the Leafs game with Steve Dangle. I'm Steve Dangle. Click like, click subscribe. Tell all your friends. It was 4-1! Again! The Leafs blow a 4-1 lead in Game 7 against Boston, 2013. The very next season, different goalie in net. It was Jonathan Bernier, I believe. They blow a 4-1 lead to the Pittsburgh Penguins, lose that game. They have a 3-0 lead in Game 3 against the Columbus Blue Jackets in the qualifying round. They blow that and lose. Everyone remembers the comeback that they had the very next game. Don't forget what led to it. Home opener against the New York Rangers. 2018? 17 or 18? They have a 5-1 lead at home. Their home opener. Blow it. It's 5-5. They end up winning 8-5. Thank goodness. And now this. They blow a 4-1 lead. Oh, I forgot the most forgotten one. The Centennial Classic. Matthew scores in overtime at home. It's outdoors. Everyone freaks out and has a great time. 4-1 lead. They blew it. And now this. How many 3- and 4-goal leads does this team got to blow? You can score. You can score. This team can score with the best teams in the league. We know that. We've known that. We've been known that for a very long time. Injuries, whatever. There aren't any injuries in the top 4 on defense. This core is not good enough.
A lot of talk in that room just about
D-core,
his communication
I should say.
skills and his personality. Players who have played with him when he was a player. He was a lighthearted guy, lots of fun. And
6 minutes to go here in the third period.
Gripping their sticks pretty tight. They probably needed somebody to settle things down a little bit. give guys some confidence.
Nikki, who was here last week when my the food I ordered had to wait on the porch for 45 minutes. She goes, "Did you have to fight a raccoon for your porch dinner?" So Oshawa's not really as big on the raccoons. It's more of a Toronto thing, I noticed. Oshawa's got a ton of rabbits, foxes, coyotes, actually.
From 2 down and a Nylander overtime winner tonight.
Not nearly as many raccoons.
But not done yet. The brink at center.
Oh!
Kerfoot back to
Kerfoot almost scoring on his own net. Don't worry about it. As we approach 5 minutes left in the third period. Whoa, Pierre!
cut him off at the pass and sends it back into the Leaf zone.
It's like Engvall never saw him.
He's a big guy, but that could have hurt.
Engvall looked up and I just at the last second realized he was going to get cut off.
Not quite as heavy a hit as he absorbed.
Got a fourth line shift pretty late in this game. Clifford with a battle. I want to see Steves take a shot.
Here's Muzzin trying to get it to
First
net.
NHL goal to win it would be nice.
Really pounced on that. Good hustle by Kyle Clifford.
Here comes Clifford pulling a China shop. There's Steves.
A rush and take it back.
Always got my eyes on the rookie. Come on. Don't get the penalty.
Camp there comes across.
Close.
Carpenter bumped him. Hagel trying to steal
Camp,
it. And
come on.
Mrazek will tee it up for
Camp
a
had his
goal.
revenge game in Chicago where he scored a goal, but we need revenge game 2. Nick Ritchie, sniper status, let's go. Someone, let's go. You can't lose this game. If they lose this game, I believe it'll be 4 losses in their last 5. And I don't care how good your November was. It's December. You've lost 4 of your last 5, potentially. And you blew a 4-1 lead to do it. There is no way to sugarcoat that. Less than 4 minutes to go. Mike, I think you deserve a beer, overtime or not. Thank you for reminding me, Mike. When games go to overtime, I grab a beer. Wow! Big hit on Kasha, but he gets right back up. And oh no! He tries to throw it right back and gets knocked on his bum again. I think that was Connor Murphy. There he is, though. And he almost sets up the go-ahead goal.
Kasha trying to swivel away from McCabe.
God, I love Kasha.
Who takes it away
Such a
from the
badger.
Blackhawks.
Lost the puck battle there, though, but the Leafs hold the line. And he's still there.
Matthews trying to become available. Back to Kasha.
Still there.
Behind the net. Feeds the point. Justin Hall.
Man, Matthews, Bunting, Kasha, that's a hungry line.
Morgan Reilly moves up.
No fun to play against. Oh, Matthews almost 5-hole. Willie's out there now, changing personnel a little bit. Less than 3 minutes to go. Leafs somehow hold the line there. I don't even think that's where Willie meant to send it, as Chicago will clear it, but this should be ice. Oh, no, funny bounce. Not enough. 2:40 to go. Rich, I want Marner back. Yeah, me too.
Diffuse it and get it going back the other way for Chicago.
Rink wide pass too far for Nylander.
Got a text from Andrew Berkshire. He's like, I can't believe it was 4-1 to you while you're streaming. You can't? I can.
Couldn't get it to the net. And Reilly Stillman's away.
You can't believe the Leafs did something to me personally?
Bumped hard by Muzzin.
Come on.
Dangle on the forecheck. Muzzin plays it ahead. And Kerfoot unable to knock down.
The Leafs have been playing with a lot more urgency since the game was tied. I will say that. But it shouldn't be tied. Like, I'm not giving you part marks for this. That's ridiculous. As the Blackhawks almost get the go-ahead goal with less than 2 minutes to go. Oof. Oof, Maroon.
He'll head off as Engvall heads in.
Engvall somehow onside. I've liked his game tonight. He's been all over the place.
Reilly advances. Wayne Simmons will take a turn in place of Steves
in a good way.
With Engvall and Clifford.
I realized that could have sounded sarcastic.
Just didn't look up at the clock. How much time was left? Didn't want to get overextended.
At least with a change here, less than 90 seconds to go. Dumping it in. Oh! Ah! If you're a goaltender, get the goal! David Camp! Revenge! Revenge! Revenge game!
scored the big
Kevin
goal back in
Lankinen!
October to tie the game.
On
and
his
get it
job
to overtime.
description,
Here,
goaltender, and if you're a
full overtime.
goaltender,
Just a
tend the
simple
goal.
dump in by Morgan Reilly, and
Oh, it hit
for
the
Reilly,
stanchion.
streak
It hit.
continues.
I think it
Another
hit the
assist,
glass.
but this one,
Look
a
at
very
this.
unique
Oh,
one.
no.
Lankinen expecting it to go down.
Oh,
So
no.
often you see a goaltender, Chris,
And with
when it's not in
80
the building
seconds
and
to
it's
go
up
in the
on glass,
game,
just stay in the net, especially late in the game.
David
And
Camp
here he goes out the other side. Camp
trying to
doesn't
pull
waste
off a
any
Centennial
time
Classic.
and gets the backhand up and over. This is a crazy game sometimes, the twists and turns that can happen within a 60-minute game.
David Camp against his old
What is
team.
that reaction,
First
Doobie?
and 12.
What is that reaction?
4 goals on the year and half
As the
that
Blackhawks
total
call a
against
timeout,
his old club.
Fleury, good guy Fleury, reassuring Kevin Lankinen. I mean, if you're a goaltender, tend the goal, but for God's sake, it hits the glass. Are they trying to argue this is offside or something? It's not. Oh, are they trying to argue that it went out of play?
A bad bounce, but an opportunistic one for David Camp.
Not
I
the
don't
same
think so.
because this involved a stanchion, but I couldn't help but think about
And now David Camp has got to be out there to shut this thing down. All eyes on Peter Mrazek. I really can't believe this damn team. 80 seconds is a lot of seconds, man.
How deflating is that?
80 seconds is a lot of seconds.
Again, the value of
Robert, hi, longtime viewer, first-time watcher. Wouldn't it be nice if goaltenders tended the goal? Yeah. Listen, that's going in dangits. Also, if the Leafs blow this, they're going in dangits. They might be in there anyway.
The extra attacker here as the Hawks try to get it back. Taves.
Oh my God, I can't talk.
6
Huh.
on 5 here.
Less than 70 seconds to go.
Up top. Incoming.
Blackhawks, fanned on it. About a minute to go now.
To bring it back to
1 minute. This is Leafs bit of a fire drill here. Whoa, somehow that snuck through. Justin Hall. Sheldon Keefe is trusting him here. He's trusting him. He's got him out in the final minute of a, oh boy, that's going to be a trip on Camp. It's not. All right. Cool. 40 seconds to go in the game. The Blackhawks got numbers. How did this happen?
We're watching Montreal and St. Louis.
I know they got the net empty, but that was 3-on-1 there.
Leafs leading 5-4. Extra attacker on for Chicago, and Matthews
Leafs clear the
gets it
zone.
up to center.
Matthews getting in there. 20 seconds to go.
Strome can't get loose.
They clear the puck again. This won't be ice. 15 seconds to go. The Blackhawks are getting a one more rush here. Leafs stuff it at the blue line. Blackhawks still have time. Just get it behind the net. Ring it around. And if you ice it, who cares? I don't think that'll be enough. They blew the whistle, but I don't think that'll be enough. Peter Mrazek wins. Is that his first win as a Leaf? Might be. It's his first complete game as a Leaf, I think. Goodness gracious me, oh my. The Blackhawks erase a 4-1 deficit and somehow do not leave Toronto with a point. The Leafs blow a 4-1 lead at home and somehow escape unscathed. What an unfulfilling feeling for the Chicago Blackhawks. And for the second straight game, or second straight win anyway, the Leafs win 5-4 at home and don't even really get to feel that good about it. Oh boy. Mitch, buddy, hurry back. Watch a Leafs game with Steve Dangle. I'm Steve Dangle. Click like, click subscribe, tell all your friends. If you were here for the whole game, thank you so much. If you were only here when you just wanted to see me turn purple because the Leafs blew a 4-1 lead, I don't blame you. God, this team is a carnival. They really are. They really, really are. We got some dangits fodder in there. David Camp with the game winner for the Toronto Maple Leafs against his former team, the Chicago Blackhawks. His fourth of the season after scoring just one goal in his entire season with the Chicago Blackhawks last year. Good Lord. Good Lord. Watch a Leafs game with Steve Dangle. I'm Steve Dangle. We have an all-Canadian affair. next week. Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Bruce, there it is. The Canucks 3-0 under Bruce Boudreau, noted Leaf fan. Can't wait to see that. And I can't wait to see the Leafs take a 3 or 4 goal lead and have it lead to a relatively uneventful night. I'm going to be shooting the LFR tonight. I got to have a chamomile tea with honey because I wore out my voice in the third period there. Justin Bourne was a guest. He was fantastic. Your questions were real good tonight. Justin Bourne was also impressed. And we'll end with a question from Mike. Takeaways from this game? Mike. I'm confident saying what I said last game against the Lightning. I know 2 things about this Leafs team. 1, they're really good. And 2, they are not good enough. You saw Dubas's reaction there. Does that look like a GM who's satisfied to you? Not to me. Not to me. They escape with 2 points. It's always good to get 2 points. It's always good. But that did not look like a satisfied general manager at all. And when general managers are unsatisfied, things seem to happen. So that is it for this week's edition of Steve's Watch the Leafs game with Steve Dangle. What a ridiculous game. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. If you're a goaltender, tend the goal!